Hey everyone, welcome to Frame Trap. Middle of July. It's the summer.
It's hot.
It's hot. It's hot. I'm here with Kyle Bossman at the end there.
Hi, everybody.
Bradley Ellis.
Hi.
I'm your host, Ben Moore, and the question that I want to talk about with you guys is something I've been dealing with a lot. It's so hot. It's regularly where I live in Valencia over 100 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't get the air conditioning right. Ever.
What is going on with everyone's AC?
Mine
was busted too.
This happens in the car with me as well. It's just a weird thing with temperature where you'll get it and you're like, oh, it's really hot, and you'll turn the AC on, and then it'll go for a little bit, and you'll have this brief period. It's kind of like a haircut, right? Where you get a haircut and it's good for like a day, and then it's not good anymore. That's what happens to me with air conditioning, where it's good for like 10 minutes, and then it's either too cold or too hot, and you fiddle with it, and then you get like another 10 minutes, and then it goes bad again.
I'm willing to freeze.
You're willing to freeze?
Me too.
Because, I'm comfiest in hoodies.
Yeah.
Like, if I can wear a hoodie on a hot summer night, I'm happy. So, yeah, I'm willing to just pump it out.
I am comfiest in hoodies as well, but there's this, I don't know if psychological is even the right word here. There's this weird trick of the brain where if it's too cold because of the AC, I feel like guilty for putting a hoodie on.
Oh.
Where it's like, it's too hot outside. What am I doing? I need to turn the air down. That's the answer.
Nah, man, you gotta treat yourself,
You
Ben.
gotta treat yourself.
It's a
Just wrap
pleasure.
up.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure. I enjoy paying the power bill in summer months.
You enjoy it?
Yeah.
You enjoy spending more money?
Yeah.
Enjoy paying the power bill.
It feels worth it. I see that it's a big number, and I'm like, you know what? It was worth it every second.
Is
Sign
it
the
just
check.
Yeah.
Is that just coming from I want to live in a hoodie, so therefore this feels
Yeah.
good? Like you're fighting nature?
I hate the heat. I hate it.
So you like the cold more than the heat?
Yes.
I hate the cold more than the heat. Yeah. I can't stand winter.
Well,
Glad I'm here.
Well,
I would rather
it's
fry.
probably a lot different in Iowa, the winter, than here.
It is, man.
Yeah. It's like here, I love the winter.
There are days in Iowa where you go out there, you'll freeze to death. Yeah. I don't want to live that way. I do miss... It's not really a good hot cocoa season in California, though.
No.
Or warm apple cider. It's not really a good time to bust that stuff out. I think it gets a little colder here. But...
It's harder to plan that ahead. Like, you get one day randomly out of nowhere, and you're like, oh, I gotta take advantage of this now.
there's a couple eggnog weeks for sure.
You drink eggnog?
I drink egg. You don't like eggnog?
No, Ben, I don't.
All right. Well, that's just another weird thing for me, I guess, then. Love eggnog.
I don't know if it's a weird thing for you. I think it's weird for, like, me.
No, they know it's weird. At the grocery store, they know eggnog is weird.
Like,
That's
just
why it's
eggnog
only there
is a
for a
little
little
weird.
while. Yeah.
Like, just
Okay.
the name eggnog.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I will cop to that. I still don't think taco pizza is weird. I think it's just people not knowing.
That's mostly what it was, but it turned into a funny
Right,
joke.
it turned into a thing. But eggnog is weird. However, like my dad, I think if your dad, there's a certain point in your life where if your dad does something and he introduces it to you, you're gonna like it,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, it feels special.
It feels special,
Yeah.
right? That happened with eggnog. You see your dad drinking something, and he's like, "Do you want some?" And then you have some, and then it's not weird anymore. But if I had encountered eggnog later in life, yeah, it probably would have been a little strange. Do you guys have any summer traditions?
Things like I have to do in the summer.
Yeah.
A lot of pool action.
Nice.
There's a big, like, you've seen the pool. Have you seen the pool by my house, Ben? I know you've been to my house a couple times. There's
No.
a huge pool, like huge diving board right in my neighborhood.
Okay, this is your own personal pool, or it's just like a
It's in the neighborhood,
Okay,
but it's my pool.
So
Okay.
we're in some suburbs right
Yeah,
now.
we're in the suburbs. We
Okay.
got a nice big pool. Like, it's the pool that everyone in my city goes to because it's got the two diving boards.
Well,
Got the high dive and the low dive.
do you ever go off the high dive?
You bet I go off the high dive. Do a huge cannonball, get that lifeguard wet. Tradition.
Summer fun with Brad here.
Yeah.
I like this.
You gotta do that kind of stuff. Gotta go to the beach.
I've been doing this thing where I will go down to the pool and I'll read. Like I'll just
That's
I'll
a
just
good
hang
thing
out
to
and
do, yeah.
read. Yeah, you might even get your feet a little wet.
Do you guys have adult pools by you or anything like that?
What?
Like, you have to be a certain age to go inside them.
Oh no, it's so in the apartment complex. It's just
Okay,
kind of a
I
communal
gotcha.
pool
I
and
gotcha.
a hot tub.
Cool.
Yeah.
Still jolly though.
How about you, Kyle? You jumping off?
No.
Just cranking
dives?
that AC, baby.
I did not leave my apartment as much as possible during these few months.
Because you just hate the heat.
Just hate the heat.
You hate the heat.
Hate it.
Understandable. Well, because you're staying inside, Kyle. You're playing video games.
A lot of video
obviously.
games,
A
yeah.
lot of video games. What are you playing?
I'm playing Final Fantasy 15.
I've been waiting to hear about this.
Finally.
Yes.
We've been waiting years.
At last.
All right.
Quick question. I guess we'll let you go into it. I was going to ask about the DLC. if you're playing those or not.
No. I'll play them afterward.
Cool.
Somebody on Twitter was even like, you should play them at the points in the story where they would coincide. It's like, no, it's okay. I don't want to put up with that. I don't want to deal with it.
I just installed them 2 nights ago, so ready to go at some point,
Cool.
someday. So a lot of people, Kyle, some people really like Final Fantasy 15. A lot of people don't like Final Fantasy 15. Before we get any farther, can you summarize your experience with Final Fantasy 15 as a like or a dislike, or is it too complicated?
Oh, it's not complicated.
Okay.
It's a strong like.
Okay, so you're on the positive side.
It is a simple love. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it about Final Fantasy 15 that you like?
There's a lot of things. It was cool. I think about episode Duskai on my drive over, and how that was really good at prepping me to be prepared for this game in a way that I was ready for. The way that you have to camp to get experience, you have to sleep every night. There's a day cycle, and then that's when you get experience. And then so you kind of segment your adventure into days, and I was ready for that, and I was prepared for it. I love that. I love that about this RPG. It's such an interesting RPG because of that, because that is the way you play this game. That every day and night matters is such an interesting thing. And on top of that, when we talk about love and the reason why it's a game I love and more than a game that I love that one of the characters, Prompto, is taking pictures all day. Just an AI taking photographs of your daily adventure, and then you look at it every night. And then I know at the end of this game, I'm going to have a really cool looking yearbook full of photos, like the best. I pluck out the best. And I'm just so excited to see those.
Yeah. So you're not at the end yet.
I'm at chapter 12.
Okay.
So you're getting close.
And I know. And I already, I know it's been, 7-8 months since it came out? I know chapter 13 is bad. I've been pretty good about not seeing any leaks or anything, but I noticed everybody hates chapter 13, and I know chapter 13 is one that's been patched.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't they change that a little?
Yeah, so I'm going to find out what's going on with that next.
Yeah. Do you think it's disappointing to you? I want to get back to your impressions on the demo, but do you think it's disappointing to you? You know, you were waiting a long time to play this game, and now a lot of opinions have already been formed. And sometimes, to me, the best time to play the game is right up front, where I'm not comparing what I'm experiencing with what everybody's saying. I'm just comparing it with myself, and to me, that's a lot of more satisfying and more. It's just less distracting.
Yeah.
I feel more sure in my own feelings because of that. So is it disappointing to you?
Yeah. Well, not disappointing. Basically, Ben, I'm driving around in this huge environment and moving the camera around, and I can see everybody's expressions in the car, and then everything in the environments around them as we drive by. It feels like a road trip. And I have the thought, it's insane that people don't love this game. It's insane. It's just, there's so much unique and so much good to it. Just the realness of this adventure, the realness of this environment, that I feel like everything really just exists. And oh man, it has a vision, it has a voice, and it's saying things, and it's really cool.
So what do you say to the people that say, for example, yeah, okay, you can drive around, you can do all of this stuff, you're going on this road trip, but the side quests aren't any good. You're not doing anything interesting, or the combat isn't difficult, or it's just a lot of open space. Do you think that's valid, or do you disagree with those claims, or do you have a different take on it?
It's valid. It's valid to say there's a lot of open space. I mean, I'm always a second screener, and there are long road trips where I'm so grateful to have that second screen. I think this game would almost be intolerable sometimes not to have another screen open.
That was my bathroom break, when you set the timer for it to drive somewhere like that.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
The timer, all right, bathroom break.
And then Prompto is just like, hey, I want to take a picture of somebody in particular, and you come back from your bathroom break, and you're like, Prompto! Because it pauses the trip.
Yeah.
Prompto! Did you have to?
Come on, man!
And you come back to the screen that says Prompto will take pictures of everyone regularly, as he normally would if you didn't have this conversation prompt. Like, thank you.
Have you ever denied Prompto when he wanted to stop and take a picture?
Nope, I'll always do that for Prompto.
All right.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm a nice guy in this game.
Okay.
That is very weird.
Yeah, because I enjoy the adventure so much, there are people who are like, hey, will you pick some crops for me? Again, talking about stupid side quests that shouldn't matter. Yeah, I'll drive down and pick some crops for you. I'll make that stupid trip for you. Absolutely. It's the weirdest thing, Ben.
Do you think the way you're behaving in this game is not only because of the friends themselves, what you like about them, but because of Noctis, like, do you think Noctis is a good protagonist? Do you feel like you're kind of getting into his mindset, or
Noctis is
that too much of a leap?
He's a good protagonist because of the friends.
I see.
If this is a game about Noctis driving alone everywhere, I would hate it. Certainly. The other three are so important in making it the adventure, but also making him a likable character.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just, I was explaining to Hubert, I think that the tent zipping up and just having like Gladiolus go like, "Rise and shine, princess."
Yeah.
Like, that's huge. That's enormous. I don't think people realize like how big that is, because it is stupid and simple.
Right.
But to have somebody say that to you, the main character, levels you, and it puts you in your place. And I mean, Gladiolus is doing that the entire game up to where I am at.
Yeah.
Especially some stuff. And yeah. I just think people challenging the main character who aren't villains is very important and interesting to see in an RPG in the way that they do this.
You mentioned the demo and how it kind of prepared you for this game. And it's something that I didn't think about before, because you're totally right. I remember when that demo came out, just personally speaking, my own hunger for Final Fantasy XV meant that I was playing that demo way more than I would any other demo.
And me too, yeah.
And I just kind of got into this rhythm of, I'm going to see everything. I'm going to cover every inch of this space. I'm going to learn about the combat as much as I can. I do think if you approach the game with that mindset, it really benefits from it, where you just sort of, you're not always trying to accomplish something. You're kind of just okay with just being in this world.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very different mindset, and kind of, in a way, atypical for a lot of JRPGs, where you are, checking off a series of side quests or trying to get a piece of gear or something like that.
Yeah, Ben. It's like why they make the food look so good.
Right.
It's why they spent so much time making that food look so good.
Right.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't make the gameplay better. It doesn't make it a better video game, but it makes me love it more.
Right. Yeah, it is those things. It is those little conversations that you have with the other party members. It is because the food looks so good. It is being in your car and watching them do different things when you're driving. It is listening to that old Final Fantasy music. And I think it's when you talk about it, or when you write it down, it's kind of a hard thing to convey. And at the same time, I can totally understand people not being on board with that, or just having completely different expectations.
Yeah.
Where I get there, because there are other characters that join your party as guests.
Yeah.
And they're great.
I love the guest characters.
They're great.
Yeah.
And so when somebody says, "Man, I really wish it was more than just these guys all the time," I can understand that, because the game itself gives you a compelling reason why that would be cool. However, I have to wonder, maybe the game wouldn't have worked for me so well if the focus hadn't been as intense on this group of friends.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't think of another JRPG, and please correct me if I'm wrong, where it has been so focused on just the mundane aspects of these friends. It's pretty crazy, and I think that gives the game its own special vibe.
It really does. Yeah. For them to just be camping together, for them to be passing forward a little energy drink in the car. Yeah, that's crazy. It's really cool stuff. Because he is a king, but there are enough people to say, "Come on, man, chill out."
Right.
Yeah.
Another complaint about Final Fantasy XV is, you feel like the story is giving you enough that it's connecting its plot points sufficiently, or do you feel like it's kind of scattered all over the place?
Oh, I don't. I'm shocked at this point. And, I'm in 40 hours, because I think on the third chapter I spent probably 20 of those 40 hours just checking off everything I could possibly do before I was forced to leave this one area. I'm shocked by how fast the story moves. It's really crazy.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think you and Huber and Brad all said, "Look, watch Kingslave ahead of time." I never did. I don't want to watch that movie. I'm not interested. Sure. I don't feel left behind.
Okay.
I really like you. I think you can allow yourself to feel like you're missing things, but most of the things aren't important. You know what I mean? I think that you get it. You get that these three people are the bodyguards of the king. You totally get that.
Yeah,
and
you get their
this and this
mission,
and this.
why they're doing that.
Sure, you'll see a grave site that may have mattered more if I had watched that movie, but like, I'm okay with that. I like, it's not hard to follow at all. And when I said like this game has something to say, I don't think that thing is about light and dark, like you see in a lot of Final Fantasies. I don't think it is about like hope and crystals. I think the thing this game has to say is just simply it's good to have bros.
Right.
Honestly, that's the message to me so far, and it executes that well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the way the gameplay is designed, the way that, you know, the leveling system's designed is all to support that thesis of it's good to have bros.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that you can't swap out party members. I think it's cool. It's cool to have that kind of simple message to support through your game. I like it.
That'd be a good tagline. It's good to have bros.
Yeah.
Back of the box.
Let's talk about the combat. What do you think of it overall?
I like it.
Okay.
I do. I like that. Gosh, it's weird. I don't know if they changed magic since Dusky, but I like it. I like how magic is basically lock on, throw it, and it's just super expendable. You can't do this a lot, so use it just once in a while. But when you do use it, it like burns up a whole circle, and there's remaining embers and stuff. And when you freeze, when you just do a blizzard, there's still just snow. And everybody's like shivering.
Yeah, I love that it hits like your party members too.
And the monster's all crusted over with ice. I mean, visually, this game is notable. I think a lot of the character models look bad of the NPCs, just grody NPCs, but environments and monsters and mechanical designs are all so impressive. It's even Hammerhead, just the first place that you're in, just the way that the buildings are designed, and just like people who care about architecture design these buildings.
Right.
It's just so interesting that so much of it is beautiful, and it's just this kind of like weird like 50s America and like this kind of road trip vibe of it.
It feels like a road trip.
Yeah.
People like us who live in America, like Hammerhead feels like a place I've seen in real life.
Yeah.
Just like out in the desert in Nevada or something like that.
Yeah.
Talking about the magic, it's funny because it reminds me of an old Thanks for Playing. It's a show that we did at Game Trailers. We would discuss different topics.
Yeah.
We talked about magic, and I don't think we did a great job of kind of crystallizing that conversation, but I totally agree with you that just the way magic feels in Final Fantasy XV is kind of cool in and of itself, where of course you would expect it to have magic, but it feels like this supernatural force. It feels dangerous.
Yeah.
And I can't. There's so few RPGs. Like, if I were to describe a fantasy RPG to you, and I would say, "Oh, you can describe magic," you wouldn't bat an eye. It would just be expected. It would just be a thing that you would do that would cost a resource, and certain things would be weak to it, and certain things would not. And I don't think we see enough of that. I don't think we see enough of. Wait, we have this world where there's magic. Let's make that feel cool. I think that is an incredible
accomplishment. They do a good job of that because not a lot of people can use it. I think he's the only one that can use it in the whole party. Or
no way,
or
dude,
like,
no. Ignis is like a
you're right.
magic
But
master.
it's like not a lot of people can use magic in the game.
You saying Ignis, my mind immediately flashes to those bro attacks that you can do, where like he'll flip you the daggers, or you'll do the fist bump with Gladio.
Right.
And again, it's just another one of those things where you go, it's good to have bros.
It's good to have bros.
Felt cool. Yeah.
I get that the combat system's simple, by the way. I get that. And it's circle to attack and square to block. I get that that's very, very simple, but I don't mind that at all.
What do you think about the way it sort of deals with getting knocked out, where you sort of have that down state where they can come over and revive you, or you can revive your friends? Is that fine? Do you not?
I've never been close to a game over.
Okay.
I got a little close. I went in a temple I probably shouldn't have been in, but I've never been close to a game over, and I'm okay with that. Basically, I feel like I'm being rewarded for the time that I've spent in the game. There are hard parts, and you're just like, okay, I'll come back later. And so I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that in an RPG, for sure. Sorry, when I was thinking about magic, I was thinking of how cool the summons are.
Yes.
Again, if magic feels like an event, summons is a holiday. I think I've summoned Ramu in my 40 hours 5 times, and that's it. I haven't summoned anyone else. I have no idea how to get Titan out. I have no idea how to get anyone else. Whatever. No spoilers. But it's cool. It is an event when you summon somebody.
Yeah.
And it just feels so cool. It feels like an otherworldly magic is dropping down in on this thing. And I mean, that's what I loved about that demo. That's what I had my jaw dropped at the end of Dusky, and it just paid off. It's just so impressive. There's so much technically impressive about this game.
Yeah, And again, it's sort of that effect that it has on the world around you, because you think about so many other Final Fantasy games where you'll summon something and it will do something very grandiose, but then you'll just be back at the same battle screen and you'll get out of it and the world is the same. It was as if this giant creature never came about. And so that is really cool. Brad, it's been a while since you finished Final Fantasy XV.
Yeah.
It was a game that I remember you finished it and you messaged me and you had very excited thoughts and we had a lot to talk about. A lot has come out. A lot has come and gone since Final Fantasy XV.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel the urge to revisit it? Have your thoughts changed on it at all?
I feel like revisiting it if there's a PC port eventually.
Sure.
With all the DLC.
Dude, I hope so.
Yeah, because that game, I mean, it runs fine, but it doesn't run great.
I'd love to see a version where the hair isn't pixels.
Yes.
I'd love to see a version where the hair doesn't do that thing.
Yeah. I mean, I have some complaints with 15.
Sure.
I do like 15 a lot, though.
Yeah.
I really like it. I think you and me kind of stood on the same kind of area when we both finished it.
Yeah.
A lot of my concerns are with it is just kind of how everything kind of feels rushed at a point in the game like that. I feel like some of the boss fights, I would say, are pretty bad. I remember several encounters where it's just like, what is going on here? This is bad.
How good is invading enemy bases?
It was cool.
No.
I mean, it's okay.
I'm
was
curious
cool.
what Brad's going to say.
For me, it was cool. Maybe like the first time or second time. Then I just kind of got sick of it.
Okay.
Like, it's that kind of thing with Ground Zeroes to me. Like, invading a base in Ground Zeroes was cool. Then I just kind of got sick of doing all that stuff. Just the repetition kind of got annoying for me. 15 has some really cool stuff, and some of it you don't see. I would say the main story doesn't show you a lot of the really cool stuff. Like, some of my favorite things aren't in that.
Yeah, it's something that I like quite a bit, where the most elaborate, craziest thing in that game, you don't get any trophies for. The main story doesn't point you in that direction at all. Like, you really have to go out of your way to see it. And Kyle, I encourage you to go find this dungeon once you're done with it.
I wish there was more
really
stuff
awesome.
like that in the main game.
Sure.
So I found a dungeon. I'm trying not to do spoilers.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just say there were red iron giants in there because there's iron giants in the game. There were some red iron giants. Do you know which temple I'm talking about?
Yes, I have a feeling I remember.
Is that the one, or is there one like crazier than that one?
There's a thing that you need that you can't get yet.
Oh, okay.
That will
All right.
allow you
Cool.
to get there.
Gotcha. Yeah, I love it. I've been loving my time with it. It's been a perfect post E3 game.
Great,
and,
yeah.
It's crazy to me.
Do you think you're going to immediately dive into the DLC, give yourself a break?
I'll probably immediately dive into that DLC.
Do you have any interest in those episodes, Brad?
Yeah. I want to play them when they're all out, though.
Okay.
That's when I want to go back to it. But yeah, I love the characters in that game. Love that cast.
Yeah.
Like, that's the strength of the game to me, is that core group of friends, or the brotherhood thing they throw around a lot.
Yeah.
So you get more content. Because there's a couple moments, in the game where you're like, what happened? But this will hopefully fill in the holes.
I think that's kind of cheap.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like what?
I need to take care of something. And he shows up
Yeah.
later and is like, hey, you have a scar now. Yep.
Yeah,
Buy the
don't
DLC.
worry about it.
It's like, all right.
It's like, cool, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird. We've had this conversation with Metal Gear Solid 5, and I think you can absolutely have it with Final Fantasy 15, where it's hard to argue that there aren't parts of these games that don't feel complete.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
in both instances, like, in both of them, I will still defend them, and I think there is so much good there in spite of the missing pieces. Where there's sort of weird cases where they're doing enough that is new and unique that works, that the areas that they traditionally nail that they don't hear are kind of lessened because of those new things. And a lot of people disagree with that, and I think I can sympathize, because Final Fantasy 15 is a game that took a long time to come out.
Especially what we saw of the game
Yeah.
before, too.
Yeah.
That's not in the game.
Right.
And I do think of it while I play it. I think of what's Tabata and what is ahead of that, what was before that. And it does feel like there's different things going on.
Right.
It's just one of them. I mean, I love the game. I just wish we got the invasion at the beginning of the game that turned into the movie.
That turned into the
I think that would have helped strengthen the case for some
Right.
moments of the game, too,
Right. I mean, I think,
that I don't want to talk about.
like Metal Gear Solid 5, it is a game that screams, hey, this is what we want to do, and they totally believed in that, and then that had to change multiple times.
I honestly think, though, I like this game better than I would have liked Versus 13.
Okay.
Explain that.
I don't think Versus 13 was about how, like, it's good to have bros.
What do you think Versus 13?
Well, they're the only characters in the game, though, too.
Were they then?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I watched gameplay clips of it
You could actually just play as them though, too.
where it was just Noctis. Yeah.
I mean, there probably was segments because there was the whole thing. I think there's a scrap storyline about like the dreams, kind of Noctis and his dreams, stuff like that. You remember like the demo they released a long time ago,
No.
where you're the kid, the
Oh,
Noctis
yeah,
kid, like that's
yeah,
in
yeah.
a dream. I
I
think
think
there was
of
going to
that
be
weird
more
demo,
stuff
too,
like
sometimes,
that
right? Yeah.
in the game.
Yeah.
You might have been Noctis alone, but it was always those four together.
Really? Okay.
Except you could just play as them,
Weird.
but I mean, it didn't work out.
Wouldn't feel right. You can't be Prompto.
I would really like to have you
Why not?
back in the show pretty soon
You're
once
gonna
you
be.
once you finish it, because
Yeah.
I do think, and this is why we try as much as we possibly humanly can to finish games before we review them. The ending of that game definitely shapes your opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
It is a necessary component, I think,
Absolutely.
to have a complete,
complete
feeling on
conversation.
that game.
Absolutely.
It's a question that I've asked others, and I want to ask you, because you seem pretty attached to this style of game. What would you want Final Fantasy XVI to look like?
Oh, man. Nothing like this.
Yeah,
Yeah, nothing like this.
Mm-hmm.
that's the best answer.
Yeah. I forget what it was called. What's that weird demo called?
Oh, yeah, with the girl. With the
Yeah.
magic. Yeah, I forgot what that's called.
Agni's Philosophy?
That's
Well
it.
done,
Yeah,
Ben.
nice
Yeah,
job,
yeah,
Ben.
yeah. I'd be cool with that.
I think that's right,
That
right?
sounds
Okay.
very
Agnes
right.
philosophy. Yeah, I'd be cool with Agnes philosophy. I'd be cool with that. I'd be cool with anything that's not this.
Yeah, I'm cool with whatever kind of they want to do. I mean, yeah, I don't want 15 again.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I don't want 15-2.
Right.
I want something brand new.
The concept is so well pulled off. It sounded so stupid when you see the words in a trailer that says a fantasy based off reality.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in that first dungeon and it's just kind of like an old creepy bunker
Mm-hmm.
and you're in a Final Fantasy game and there's gremlins in here that you're
Right.
attacking, just the way that those two visions coincide, it's so cool.
Like the cup of ramen and stuff like that. How it
Yeah.
all fits into that world somehow so
Mm-hmm.
well.
Yeah.
You're going to a diner.
Yeah,
to get
going to a
hunts.
diner, go play
Yeah.
a pinball game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really, really cool.
Cool. I'm glad you like it, dude. Glad you're enjoying it.
It might be one of my favorite RPGs ever.
Whoa.
Wow.
Dead serious.
Damn.
It's hard for me to say something like that just because, like, even on something like Persona 5, where I have, like, no reservations. It's like, no, I just absolutely love this. It's hard for me to say that because I feel like things change so much, and the importance of things at the time is, like, there are games that I've played where I'm like, I'm going to love this forever, and then 5 years later, it's like, yeah, that was cool. But
Yeah.
you just,
Yeah.
I don't know,
No, I see what you're saying. I agree 100% with
doubt
you.
yourself in the moment. Kyle, what else have you been playing?
Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot, the
Yes.
Insane Trilogy.
The
Yeah.
Insane Trilogy.
Are you playing all of them?
No. Nope. This will, you know what? This will prime the conversation well because I think we all got stuff to say about Crash Bandicoot.
Yes.
Played Crash 1. Was playing it up till the last part, that last island. And there's the thing where it's like, hey, the only way to get this item is to play through this level without dying. And I've done that many times before, but at that point, deep into Crash 1, I said, nope, no thank you. I'm out. Moved on to Crash 2. Got to a certain point in Crash 2 where it's like, hey, you just got to get to this point without dying. And I said, okay, Crash 2, I'm out. I'm done. You're too hard.
Sure.
I don't want to, because it's on me. Obviously, I could play through the game and get the bad ending, but I just hate the idea of
Oh,
that.
is that what it's for? Like,
Yeah, you
different
get the
endings?
You get the proper ending if you
What?
get all of the crystals. And so then I moved on to Crash 3, and Crash 3 is a good video game.
Crash 3 is my favorite.
Yeah,
I would also argue that Crash 3 is the easiest.
it is. It's absolutely the easiest, but not. It just doesn't have the cheapness that Crash 1 has.
Define that. What is cheapness in Crash?
I got some moments for you.
Okay, bring it on, Brad. Here we go.
I got
It's a
some moments.
cheap game. Like people are like, it's Dark Souls. It's hard. It's cheap. This is
Right.
cheap.
So
It's cheap and nasty. It hates you.
I've been playing through Crash 1. I missed Crash Bandicoot when they came out, so I never played them. This is my first time going through them, Ben. So there's been like several moments where something works in one instance and it does not work in
Yep.
another instance.
Exactly.
So for one example is there is this bonus platform that you get. You know, you collect the heads, like 3 faces. I don't know who it is exactly.
His girlfriend?
Is it his girlfriend? I don't know.
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
It might be his girlfriend. I don't know. But you get 3, then like the bonus thing opens up in the stage.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Throughout the game, I've just been able to walk onto them. But in this one stage, when I just walked on it, he just died. I was like, what? And I was streaming at this point.
You walked onto it.
So like, let's say this is the bonus platform, Ben. I just like, and throughout the game, I've just been able to walk on it.
Yeah.
But in this instance, when I walked on it, it just goes whoop.
It's worth mentioning. There's a big pillar blocking
Yeah, and you
the
cannot
gap.
see it that well, man. It's like obstructing your
view.
view. So there's a gap right there. I'm like, there's no way I would have known about that.
Those bridge levels aren't fun.
Dude, the bridge
They're
level.
not fun.
The
those
bridge levels are the worst.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's nothing like very interesting about doing this other than it's hard, but just like there's this hog that's able to run over the invisible.
You can't kill him for some reason.
Yeah,
You'll be able to kill every other animal in the game, and he doesn't look like a huge, big monster or anything
In fact,
like that.
we're able to ride a very similar hog earlier just by jumping on his back, but this
Yeah.
one kills us from jumping
like,
on his
no, no,
back
no.
just because
The rules
we
are
want to
not,
make it hard.
It doesn't feel consistent, the rules of that game.
Yeah.
The turtles to me have been very aggravating.
Ben,
as well.
I struggled hard
Because
with the turtles.
the frame of I don't know what their hit frames are on
Right,
those turtles.
exactly. And so with these turtles, for those of you who aren't familiar, you can jump on them and the turtles flip over back on their shells.
Yeah.
And then you can jump on their soft underbellies and bounce up.
Yeah.
But you jump on the turtle and you're like, my feet went through that turtle and I did not jump on it.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. You have to be more to the center than it seems like, and it just gets very strange.
A lot of weird hitboxes in that game too.
Yeah, there have been times where the shield guys as well, where they'll kind of bounce you around. They have this big giant shield, and you're supposed to jump up above them.
Oh, those
jump
shield
on the
guys!
shield
You got to
and
be
then
kidding me!
spin them.
You got to be
There
kidding
have
me!
been times where they've bounced me, and it's just like the game freaks out, and I don't bounce like I normally do. I'll just go in a weird direction.
Just wants to kill you.
So,
But
but I want to say this.
Yeah.
Before we go any farther.
yeah.
But I mean this. This is not backpedaling here. I really, in spite of all these frustrations, I'm still having a good time.
That's the weird thing, Ben.
Too.
That's
I'm
the weird
still
thing.
We're
having
all
a good
having
time.
fun, but I'm like going like this when I'm playing the game the whole
Yeah.
time. Like, what?
I don't hate this game.
No.
So if we
No,
all
no, no.
acknowledge that we don't hate this game and feel like we have very real concerns about it, why? Why do we keep playing?
I don't know. And it's the other thing. Here's another thing about this, Ben, is name 2 good enemy designs. All the enemies are just butt ugly and bland. There's not one good looking enemy.
It's like some turtles. There's like a
Yeah, but they all look
rodent
bad.
thing. Yeah.
The crabs, they just
monkey,
they just
maybe?
look bad. I hate those monkeys, obviously.
Yes, boring enemies, but I like what you can do to them. Every single time I knock an enemy into another enemy and I get a little fruit as a reward, that just feels good. I like
Good sound effect, too.
I like
Yeah.
I like spinning things.
And crashing things.
Right. And I think that's it. I think
Yeah.
that's why I'm still playing this trilogy is there are times where I feel like the game just doesn't work or there are those inconsistencies, there's those moments of frustrations.
Yeah.
But when it is working, getting that mask, hearing that sound, jumping on things, spinning on things, getting all the fruit, doing the boop, 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 getting all of that, it feels good. It's worth it for those moments.
Yeah, it's fun.
I think of. I just you're right. There are things that I like and
Right.
that I put time into, and
And the music.
the music's pretty good. Here's the thing that I really like though, and it's seeing the evolution, the changes between Crash Bandicoot
That's
and
what I was
Crash
gonna
3.
say. Yeah.
Because Crash 3 is good. If you're frustrated by those first 2 games, I would just recommend putting them aside.
So 3's the best one.
3 is actually the best
Three
one.
is- three is my favorite
It's
one.
usually 2 that's usually the best.
Yeah,
I
those
feel
people
like.
are just wrong.
Oh, okay.
That's just wrong.
Jeez,
like
okay.
3 is actually the best game, and you can feasibly 100% that game. What I love that you finish a boss and you're rewarded with a new move. That kind of like it's simple. It's a stupid progression.
Cool.
Yeah, but I love that. I
That's
love
cool.
a reward for finishing this boss fight, and then you can go back and play other levels, and then you have a little advantage over those.
You were talking about the enemy design in Crash 1 and how it was kind of boring.
Yeah.
I think that is a strength of Crash 3. I think it uses that time-traveling warp stuff to its advantage, where you are getting much more interesting locales, much more interesting enemies, and there's just more variety as a whole.
But it's still a lot of just like scientists. It's like, okay, yeah, you're in like just like an ancient Arabian city now, but it's like why are there scientists? Why are those the enemies?
Yeah.
They like really thought those scientists were iconic. Those circular glasses.
PS1. Different era.
No, a lack of creativity on the enemy design team.
I can't really challenge you on this.
Yeah.
I I need to go play some
There's
Crash
one
3.
cool looking enemy, and it's a sick robot who shoots rockets at you in Crash
Cool.
3. Love that guy. Really cool boss fights in Crash 3. Some good stuff.
A lot of levels in Crash 1 feel the same. Is that right to
dude.
say? Like,
Yeah,
I've run
no, it's
through, like,
totally
this
fair.
jungle with ruins, like, every level, I feel like.
Yeah. You just do you do the bridge twice.
I went to a different island,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, a little different locales. No,
Yeah.
just kidding, it's the same.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
And here's like a slightly different thing with it. So it's not like an evolution. It's not like a Super Mario World-esque evolution
Yeah.
of concepts. It's really just like
Yeah.
we're just doing that level again, a little harder this time.
So, I've played Crash 1
Yeah.
more than I've played 2 and 3 on the trilogy so
Yeah.
far. Even though I like it less than the other 2 games. I think part of it is because of the bullshit.
Uh-oh.
And I'm not necessarily arguing in favor of it, but I think when you run into something, what is the name of that? There's like one bridge level in Crash 1 that
Oh,
is
God.
just the
I forgot what it's
worst.
called.
It is nightmare.
Ben, I was stuck on that for
Yeah.
like 35 minutes.
Yeah, you
That one level.
lose like 30 lives in that level.
Yeah, I had like
guaranteed.
3 game
Yeah.
overs.
And
Or 4.
I've not even gotten to this level, but I've just seen people do it.
Yeah.
And it's been fascinating to watch because there's just something, not for everybody, but for me, just conquering the bullshit.
Yeah.
Where you almost,
Oh, no. I love that feeling.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I loved it.
That's
Dude, when
a-
I beat
that's
that
a
level,
strange
I just
feeling.
got up and walked away.
I would recommend getting good at walking along the rope.
Yeah, I did a little of that.
Yeah,
little
yeah.
cheese action.
If you can get good at that, and I mean, I think that's there intentionally, honestly. But even the rope is like, if you're not centered on the rope, you will fall off if you hold
Absolutely.
forward. It's so nasty. It's so nasty. Here's another reason why I think the game hates you in Crash 1. Is you finish a level, and it's like, you finished a level, but you missed 25 boxes. Meanwhile, there's no way to get those boxes because I can't get the crystal that I get way after this level. So you're insulting me. You're hitting me with 25 boxes I couldn't possibly get. It's mean. It's like straight up mean.
It's the game just being like, eh. It's doing that to you instead of congratulating you for
Yeah.
being low. It's just like, eh, you're not done yet, though.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the game hating you outright, or is it a product of its time? Because, I mean, if you go back and you look at the advertisements for Crash Bandicoot,
Yeah.
there was very much a we're cooler than the other guys attitude that it was trying to cultivate. And so do you think it just kind of fit into the persona of Crash at that time?
I think they're just trying to give the game a little more legs.
Yeah.
Just make it last longer.
I
That's
think
all I
I think
think.
it's a short game that they wanted to make longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I buy that. I buy that argument.
And so that's why they put those crystals way far back, and so you
Mm-hmm.
have to come back and play through them way later. They don't want you to get all the boxes on your first run through. They don't want you to get the time trials on your first run through.
Replay value,
So this is a game. This is a game that you think hates you, Kyle Bossman.
Yeah.
You're playing Crash Bandicoot 3. You're having a good time.
Yeah.
The best time out of the 3.
Yeah.
Once you finish, you're going 100% Crash 3?
Well, I did. I have 100% of Crash 3.
Okay, nice.
Dude, nice.
And now are you done?
I'm done.
Okay, so you're not going back. There's-
Worth $40. That thing was worth it.
Okay.
oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. I think it's really well done, especially. I think
Yeah.
it looks really good.
A lot of people are excited about Crash. You 100% of Crash 3. We're all playing it.
Yeah.
Do you want to see more Crash? What does that look like? Who makes it?
Vicarious Visions made this. I think they just let him go.
They
let
earned
go.
they earned it.
Yep. Let him go. I think that despite how I hate Crash 1, Crash 3 does really cool like temple levels. I think the perspective of Crash is actually very interesting and unique still today.
Like the running from the boulder and stuff like that.
And even when it's behind him, just the way that it's tight, you feel like you are in this environment because it is so tight in on you. I think there's something to that. I think that can be continued, but I don't think a straight up Crash 4 with the same mechanics of Crash 3 could be success today.
It's interesting that you talk about the perspective because my least favorite levels are actually the 2D ones.
Yeah.
And the reason I think for that is because you have those moments where you're going front to back, but you have this character that can move in a 3D space, and so it's almost like a Little Big Planet kind of thing.
Yes.
Where I don't enjoy going into the background or coming out into the foreground. I just would rather have it be a strictly 2D game instead of this weird in between stuff. And
Impossible
I feel like
with an analog stick. Just don't do it. Yeah.
I feel like Crash was designed for those running into or away from the screen, and it feels like that's how the game was supposed to control. And something else, it's like you're grafting it onto a different game in a way that doesn't feel quite right to me. I don't know.
Yeah. It's like, you're not Mega Man, bud.
Right.
And it's like, yes, we are. It's like, no, you have you're bad at this part.
Right.
You're bad. No, we're not. Yeah. Whoa, you're bad. It's like, oh my god. I'm moving on. I'm going to Crash 3.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like to complain about the hog in Crash 1,
Yeah.
but I think, again, just kind of stretching out that game, you could see, like, okay, we need to do the level this way for variety's sake.
Yeah.
And I feel like they answer that in Crash 3 a little bit better. I actually really like the vehicle sections in Crash 3.
Oh, yeah, me too.
A lot. And I think that's how you do it, where you just sort of take that idea and just play around with it rather than shifting perspective like that. But,
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else we want to say about Crash?
It's been a struggle going through it.
Yeah.
Some real moments, real low lows, but some real high highs beating those levels. I want to continue through the trilogy since I never played them, and I'd like to see the evolution of
So this
where.
is your first time playing Crash
I've
ever?
Never,
Okay.
Like I played the demo that came on PS1 discs a long time ago. That was about it. Like running from a boulder or something. That's all I knew about Crash. But I'm curious to see where it goes like that. I think it's pretty solid. I can understand why it has such a following, cult following. But yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes.
Kyle, hit me with something else. Hit me with something only Kyle Bosby can.
Yeah. You know my policy on Frame Trap.
Yeah.
I want to bring a VR game every time. Ben, I actually got two. I'm going to cover the first one real quick
Okay.
because that's the nature of it.
All right.
Spider-Man Homecoming, the VR experience is...
That's a title.
It's too short to be an experience even. I don't even know what that was. You're on top of a city. You put the suit on. You shoot some web at some stuff. You climb to a tower. Vulture attacks. You clean up the tower. Game over.
Wait, you clean up the tower?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
It's actually the only cool part of it. You kind of like pull your webbing and kind of just like it's like a crane that had fallen down. Sorry, it's a crane, like a construction crane.
Oh,
you're,
that's
like-
what, I thought
you're,
you
like,
meant
pulling
like
it back
Vulture
up.
like throws paint all over the tower and he scrubs it clean or something like that. I was very
sorry.
confused.
Yeah, that's confusing. Yeah, it's weird, Ben. It's weird. Like they have a button for switching webbing, but like you never use it because you never actually play a video game. You're never prompted to switch webbing, and so it's stupid.
It's just an ad.
Yeah. But I expected, the Ghostbusters thing had more to do in it than
I
this
see.
thing did. And so weird that they would even put out that product. It was very expensive, I'm positive, but if you're going to spend the money, spend a little more to make it a thing.
Can we talk about these VR ads?
Yeah.
How effective do you think they are? I mean, is really the appeal taking it to sort of public places and just sort of the like, oh, it's VR?
I downloaded one for the Air Force that I've actually not played yet.
Yeah.
Where it's a free thing where it's just like you're a parachuter. Yeah. Ben, I'm so on board with these things.
Right.
I would actually be super on board with Spider-Man if it was about exploring, if it was about just being in this environment, spend as long as you want in here. That's what I kind of liked about the Ghostbusters thing, actually, is that you're in the environment that movie takes place
Are
in.
these free?
Yeah. No.
okay. Oh.
Ghostbusters I spent money on.
Oh, okay.
Spider-Man was free.
Do you think part of the reason you're so on board with them is sort of the unknown factor? Where I as somebody who plays a lot of video games, all of us play a lot of video games.
Yeah.
You can kind of just spot a bad game, right? Where you look at it, you see a trailer, and you go, that looks no fun at all.
Yeah.
Just through sheer experience. Whereas with VR, I don't know when I play a VR game what it's going to be like. That's not universally true.
Yeah.
Right? Where
Yeah.
it feels more like an open space. Do you think that's part of it?
You're right. I'm willing to try way worse games because they're in VR. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry that wasn't very good.
Movie, by the way, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So the game I want to talk about is called Statik. That's with a K.
Okay.
And this is a PSVR game that I think for now is only on PSVR, and it only makes sense on PSVR right now. It's really cool. So I feel like a lot of games do this post Portal is like, hey, each level is a test that we're doing. It's like, fine, I get it. So each level is a test. Basically, your hands are trapped inside of a puzzle box. So just imagine like there's a shoebox with 2 holes in it. Your hands are in there, and they're trapped in there. Mm-hmm. And so each level is a different shoebox that you move around in front of your eyes. But that's what's cool is basically you pretend that inside of that shoebox you are holding a PS4 controller because each button, face button, analog sticks, triggers, D-pad, correlates with something that's mechanically happening on this box. And so And I love like mechanical things that like interact with each other and like slide in and lock in and unlock, especially. I love unlocking things mechanically.
Yeah.
And so just to have this thing right in your face and you control the puzzle box around 1-to-1 as if it was right in front of your face, and you can look into it when you want to and kind of look back and look around the environment. Lots of environmental clues as to what you're supposed to do with this box. It's all really cool. It's all very, very cool.
That is a pretty clever idea. How long are you spending solving each of these boxes?
I think there are, I'm going to guess 8 or 9 boxes, and I think I spent probably 2.5 to 3 hours playing this game.
Okay.
So you're never stuck for long. The one time I was stuck, it was like a riddle, and it's like, oh, that wasn't actually a riddle. That was just like an SAT question. I got it. I thought it was a riddle, and I'm like, oh, I hate riddles, and that like blocked me up, and it's like, oh, this is just simple. That'd be my hint to you, chat. Think of the SATs as opposed to riddles.
With games like this,
Audience.
where it's so focused on the puzzle itself, right? There isn't really a broader story going on here, right?
There is.
There is.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about that.
So you get hints of it from opening dialogue. There's a man who's taking notes the entire time, and he'll sigh as you're taking too long. He'll be very condescending. I mean, he's Gladys. But his face is blurred out, so it's kind of like an eerie thing. Mm-hmm. He, in between levels, will be leaving voicemails, and you pick up on clues. It honestly, in this one case, the story was not what was driving me through. The story, the thing that drove me was I want to see what cool next puzzle I get to solve.
So because you were so excited about the puzzles, were you having kind of that thing where the story was going on and you were just like, yeah, move me on, let's get to the next thing?
It wasn't that bad because
Okay.
it's not intrusive. It's not like
It's just sort of happening in the background.
Yep, and it's happening in the background while you're solving other puzzles in between, so it's cool.
So you have this box, we're trying to figure things out. Visually, what's going on around you? Beyond the GLaDOS guy.
It's a pretty well-realized lab.
Okay.
And it's cool. There's a kitchen, and there's this room and that room, and like this the monitoring room, and the room that you start off in with a little like surgical table and things like that. And you move around from things, but in that each puzzle takes place in a different room, you sort of start to like get a realization of this floor of this building. And that's kind of interesting. I love that kind of contextual thing where that sign that poster that I saw in the first level is, oh, I'm in that room now, and oh, that poster is part of this puzzle, and like that's the kind of thing is really, really cool. And they even hide clues to things that you don't even need to know. And so yeah, I really like the environment, and so yeah, I guess the context of it is still important to me, and part of the reason why I like it so much. But the story itself and the way it unravels is a driving factor.
How much is it?
$20.
$20.
Yep.
Okay.
Worth it?
Yeah. I mean, we get asked that a lot. We get asked, is VR worth it?
Right.
And yeah, you're spending more for a VR game than you would be, like this would not be a $20 regular game.
Right.
But to me, absolutely, yeah. That's a game I've never played before.
Brad, is this a game you would play?
Yeah, I'd try it.
Yeah.
I like puzzle kind of games like that. Sounds fun. And in VR sounds cool. I mean, everything sounds cooler in VR, especially because I don't do VR that much, so it seems kind of interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hear you talk about VR that much, so I guess I don't really know your current opinions on VR, Brad.
I like VR. I think it's really awesome. There's just no killer app for me yet where I needed to buy it. I mean, Dino Frontier is the closest right now because Dino Frontier is incredible.
Yeah, baby.
Love Dino
I feel like
Frontier.
we need to have a Dino Frontier release celebration.
Oh, hell yeah, we should. Like, that's what I'd buy a VR for. But like, I like all these like weird ideas that I'm hearing about, like in VR, because it's like a new frontier for us. Everything's way cooler in it because it's so new to us and everything like that. So doing something that might not be fun in a normal game is fun in VR. Like, because I don't know if this sounds very fun with like a controller. Is it the VR that really makes it for you?
Yeah, dude. It just it's why they're allowed to make such an intricate little box.
Yeah, totally.
Because it would be a little more
you can do stuff in
annoying.
this that you can't usually do in other forms of video games.
And there would have to be button prompts. There are no button prompts. You figure out what
that's great.
which
I love
button
that.
does what just because you can see it.
I was listening to the A4 Play podcast, and there's somebody on there talking about 4-Point. And it was funny kind of listening to him speak about it because so much of it sounded like this game would be not boring, but just not impressive if it was not in VR.
That's totally
Just
true.
a
And that's
super
totally true, yeah.
standard first-person shooter where you're shooting bugs.
Yeah.
And but then you add that VR element and it completely changed where it was something that he couldn't stop playing. And to me, that shift, that whole new thing, I want to feel that now.
Yeah.
I want to, like, you get behind cover in so many games, but I think when it's you looking down, it changes it. And so you can't, it's such a hard thing to talk about. And I think anything that is hard to talk about, that's hard to convince somebody about with words is interesting.
It reminds me of playing like a shooter game with a controller compared to a light gun. That's what it feels like to me. Like, it's whatever with like when you have the cursor on the screen or something like that.
Oh, that
Right.
sucks.
But when you're playing Time Crisis in the arcade,
Yeah.
actually aiming and like pushing the button to cover and the kickback on the gun
Oh yeah.
really helps sell it.
Yeah, absolutely. Brad, it's funny that you bring that up because I bought Time Crisis 2 for the PS2 because I love Time Crisis 2 so much in the arcades. And I remember it was a lot of money. I got it as a Christmas gift. It came with the GunCon.
Oh, okay.
And not long after I got that game and hurriedly unwrapped it, you just run through it, right?
Yeah.
Because you can just continue.
It's like
mean,
a half-hour game.
Right.
I had
right.
Time Crisis 1 on PS1
Right.
with the gun too.
And it's just it was not the same.
Yeah,
You
it's not the
needed
same.
that very specific setup.
for Time Crisis specifically, it was not having the foot pedal.
Or the
like-
recoil in the gun.
Yeah, like because like for the version I had Time Crisis, it had just a button on the gun,
Sure.
so you just like hold the gun like that, and it's just like this isn't the same.
No, it's not the same. Not the same. Brad,
Hold on, I just had a weird memory.
Yes.
Must be shared.
must be shared.
It was like watching like a news segment, and like there was an Arcade Pro, and it was like, there's a lot of games that ask you to point off screen to reload. Let me show you a trick. If you hold the gun with two hands and cover your pointer finger over the gun's barrel, you'll reload automatically. And like, now back to you. And it's like Channel 34 News, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
date this.
Oh, Ben, I can't. I'm going to say like 95.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds right. And the arcades were hot here.
Yeah, and like this guy had a segment where he gave arcade tips, and like he was really proud of that one. And,
Save your quarters.
and so that's how I play too. I have one finger to cover the barrel of the gun.
From that guy.
Yeah.
That's really
On
funny.
the news.
Yeah, you don't have to
But
shoot
like,
off screen.
that like ruins the immersion for me.
Really?
'Cause,
Just
I
shoot
would-
off screen?
Like I'm not. Oh, I always do the down thing
Oh,
when
okay,
I reload.
get
But
you.
like,
Okay, that's cool.
I'm just like, because I picture myself in that scenario, me just like plugging the barrel of the gun, just like to reload.
Yeah, it's true. Never do that with a real gun.
When you were doing this, when you were covering the barrel of your gun, did anybody ever come up to you and go, "What are you doing?" And then you sparked a
Yeah,
conversation.
and I was
out of
like,
that?
yeah, you don't have to shoot off
Oh,
screen.
see, it's like the lights in the
yeah,
game.
yeah. Never probably ever told a soul where I learned it.
right.
Yeah.
But that you were the cool kid in the arcade. You
Yeah.
had the hot tips.
That was before the internet, man.
Yeah.
So hot tips are hard to come around.
not to wax too much nostalgic here, but it doesn't happen anymore. I was just in an arcade a couple days ago, and there were a couple people playing DDR, but they were just doing their own thing. No one was around them.
Cool.
Man, back in the day when DDR was just the hottest thing in the world, you would have seas of people just watching somebody play this.
Yeah.
And because of that, because you could definitely tell that some people liked the attention, it would just get crazier and crazier. It's like, oh, okay, this week, that was impressive that the guy played it on hard. Well, now this guy's playing it on hard and he's doing both mats. Or like he's, I don't know, doing it backwards or something. And just sort of, when you add that human element, what it did to players was
Man, arcades were so cool back in the day.
the best.
Like, you remember when a fighting game would come out?
yeah.
And everyone would be there. Like, I remember when Mortal Kombat 3, I think, came out
Right.
at my arcade, and just people surrounding it, waiting to hopefully see a fatality or something like that.
You're right.
And another thing...
Just cranking and mashing, hoping to get a
You're like,
fatality
"Oh."
out. Yeah, it's so funny.
Well, and then the misinformation was good too,
Yeah.
because you would have people telling you how to do a fatality that just totally wasn't right,
Yeah.
and then you would get mad about that, and it would create its own story.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But another just a great thing, and it's funny because you can make modern parallels that we criticize, but I would get like $1. They're like, all right, you have this much money, choose what you want to play. And that was just such a tough choice. Like, do you go hard on one game and try to see how far
Yeah.
you can get? Do you play a bunch of things and just be okay if you suck at all of them? It's just
Yeah.
decisions.
Yeah, man. It's like, do I want to play King of Fighters 98 right here?
Right.
Or do I want to try Area 51?
Right. And I remember playing Soul Calibur 2.
Dude,
just
I
going
remember
through
Soul Calibur the game.
just going through, just playing by myself,
Mm-hmm.
and then that feeling that you get when somebody else
The
goes
rush.
to the station next to you,
The rush.
and a new fighter is coming.
It felt so personal.
It did.
It was so personal.
There was something about you where they're like, I can take that guy down, or I want to fight that guy.
Yeah.
And just
I remember playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
yeah.
And always a privilege. I would pick Mega Man, and I would just the two buttons on the right would make him do his super, where he turns big and shoots rockets. That's how I would get through most of the game to the final boss and then lose. So I was just digging it, just having a good time being Mega Man. This kid shows up. He's like, "Hey man, I really like this game." Puts in a quarter, picks Magneto, rocks me in
Oh my
10
God.
seconds.
He says that to you. I really like this game.
He's
Just
like,
wants money.
I have this at home, and just
Oh, I have this at home.
I was
Why don't you
gone.
go play at home then?
And I was like, I wanted to play it. It's like,
My money.
You have to walk away. You don't get to play anymore.
Did you say anything to him after you lost?
Probably good game, but like that was it.
What was his response? Was he looking at you like a?
He was having a good time.
Okay.
He was having a blast.
Yeah.
I think he was laughing as he was just
Oh man.
just with Magneto. Just
You had because you had no idea what to do.
I had no
You'd
awareness
never
you
seen
could
that.
play the game like this.
Right.
You know, I didn't.
He's taking money from you.
Yeah.
He's making you spend money to keep having fun.
Was he your
Yeah.
age or was he older than you?
I think he was a year or two older than me at best.
Okay.
But you know, Dreamcast kids were cool. They knew stuff.
I have this at home.
Yeah. I have this at home.
But on the flip side of that, if someone coming and kicking you out of the game is when you're playing a co-op game and someone comes around like
Oh, nice.
Right.
That's the flip side.
I was playing Sunset
Yeah.
Riders, I remember. And
Right.
some dude comes out of nowhere and just plays with me.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was so much
Yep.
fun. Like, how many times I played Metal Slug and some random guy would come by and play with me? Or
Yep.
just, like, we all played The Simpsons or X-Men and have some random person come by. When you get, like, all the strangers on that X-Men cabinet, I forgot how many players it is, but you got a full group of X-Men going.
There's some that
hard
exist
to
that
beat.
are 6. You can put 6 people
Yeah,
on
it was
that.
that
It's
one.
got like 2 screens.
Most of the time, this feeling happened with a friend that I was at the arcade with. But once in a while,
Yeah.
when you were playing with a stranger,
Yeah.
when you died and you were out of quarters and you had to like run to the machine to get the quarters to come back. So
I'll be
you could
back.
help- Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
die.
Right, just that like sense of responsibility
Yeah.
that you felt. Yeah.
I just, I'm sorry, Ben. I just
No.
had a strange memory of Turtles in Time, I think.
uh-huh.
Walking up to these 2 cool kids and playing with them, like plopping in, like, hey, can I play? Yeah, absolutely. And when the turtles would get, when they would die, they go, shell shocked. And one of the cool kids goes, shell shocked. And I remember looking over at him like, these kids are cool.
Man, the 90s were weird.
They were so cool, and they were good at turtles. And I was like, they were carrying me to that final boss fight. Dang. To end that conversation, I want to say that like I think this still exists. I think it still exists in some arcades, but at PAX, I remember walking up and playing some games randomly with strangers and going through them because they have those weird arcades where it's infinite money.
Right.
And so I think these moments do still exist today in
Yeah, they happen
isolated
at
moments.
cons a lot.
Yeah.
At least in America.
And so I do
Like-
want to give those things credit. I think that's pretty cool.
I was in Santa Ana, and we went to the mall, and there was a round 1 in there. And just walking through, you still kind of had that cool arcade experience because there were just a bunch of rhythm games. But there was only one rhythm game where these people wouldn't get off, and there were people watching them. And I was like, I've never seen this game before.
Is it the Diagonals one?
No, it had. I was just walking by.
Yeah.
I didn't even play anything. I didn't have time. I was just like, no, I just want to go into the arcade and see what's there.
Yeah.
So I didn't. I just quickly glanced at it, but there was just this big giant anime girl on it, and these guys just so focused.
Oh, so it's probably one with buttons, right?
I think it might have been touchscreen.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not sure. I'm,
yes,
not sure.
dude.
I'm not sure.
That touchscreen one is insane.
And me not knowing kind of plays into the story, and that was the whole point where like the allure of certain games or that new machine, just trying to figure out what it is. Why are people obsessed with this? What's going on here? And that's so cool now because you like, how often do you get to have that experience where with the PR cycles, it's like, oh, hey, here's our tease.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the reveal trailer or teaser or whatever it is. Here's an announcement of an announcement. All right, here's the gameplay demonstration. Here's them. None of that stuff is bad, right? I'm not going to stop consuming that stuff. That stuff is informative and helpful. But there was something just intrinsically appealing about going like, what is this crazy anime girl game that these two serious dudes with headphones in and big old things of soda, like what's going on?
Wow.
That allure of mystery was super cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of want to just keep talking arcades, but
man,
we got a show to do. We got a show to do. Brad, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a lot of one game mostly, a little game called Nier Automata.
Nice.
Finally did it. Beat original Nier.
A through E.
A through E. Feels good.
Okay. After you're done, because we would kind of be talking, you'd finished Route A, and we would talk, and have a conversation, and you'd finish Route B, and your perspective shifted a little bit. Overall, what is the totality of your experience? How do you feel about Nier?
Very good.
Very good. Why?
Very high. I love Nier. A lot about Nier is actually the characters for me, and the story, the bonds that they share. Like the relationship between 9S, 2B, then eventually A2.
Yeah.
And how, like, their growth going through all that. Like,
hold on, before we go any further, sorry to interrupt, Brad. We might shift into spoiler talk here.
Just in case.
There are timestamps for every single game that we talk about in the description of this video. So if you don't want to hear any more of this, you don't want to be ruined, you haven't played through Nier yet, you don't want to hear us talk about it, whatever it is, feel free to skip, but just letting you know, this is going to be your only warning.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm ready for spoilers, by the way.
You're ready.
Yeah.
You've just reached that point where you know you're not going to play any more of it.
Yeah, I think
I'm like
you're
pretty
done.
sure.
You're done.
I didn't trade it in. It's still on the shelf, but it's like I'm pretty done. So I'm curious. I'm curious where we go.
Well, I mean, I beat the game. I saw the endings and everything like that, and I'm still confused about some stuff.
Okay.
Like, I just beat it last night, so I'm still, like, trying to piece things together.
You're processing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're talking about these relationships between these characters. What were those relationships, and why were they special?
Well, I mean, it started off as your standard... Well, like, you start off as 2B, you know, soldier.
Yeah.
No emotion, always talking about, like, that stuff, like, androids don't have emotion. Kind of stuff like that. 9S trying to always pry a little more with her. She's always shutting him down.
Right.
Very anime characters,
Sure.
I would say. Then just, like, the eventual growth of 2B, like, when she finally calls him Nines, that he's been trying to call the whole time.
Right.
You see their relationship kind of grow and strengthen like that. And the game just kind of takes away, like, certain moments like that. Like, there's a lot of deaths in this game. Where I was just like, whoa, kind of hit me out of nowhere. Kind of like the first Nier, I would say, though. A lot of impact like that. Just going around doing all the quests. Like, some of the quests are really funny. Some of them are really cool. Like, there was one quest I remember. You find this woman who's part of Yorha, I believe. She, one of her friends got killed, and she wants you to help find her who killed them. Then you go through all the things like that, and you eventually find out that she did it, and she had her memory wiped, and she's had it, like, wiped, like, 5 times. It just kind of went in a lot of directions I didn't expect it to. Like, when I went underground, there were some dead space aliens. I was like, okay, this is out of control right now, but I'm cool with it.
Yeah, so, you know, you've played the original Nier and then Nier Automata, and with Yoko Taro games, that is kind of a thing that keeps getting brought up, is how bizarre they get. But for me... that bizarreness almost never supersedes the strong characters and the strong story. Like,
right.
Like there feels like there's purpose behind.
It never felt like
the insanity
that really
didn't
need to happen. This was just thrown in there to be weird.
Right.
It didn't really feel like to me that much, which is good. I was very happy with the combat in this game.
Okay.
So much better than the first game.
Yeah.
Like, Nier 1 combat sucks, dude.
Sure.
I don't care what anyone says. It's bad.
Yeah, I don't think it's great.
Yeah.
At all, by any
like, they
means.
did the right thing having Platinum come in and helping.
So what makes the combat good to you? Why do you like it?
It's much more... There's more depth to it. I like that... and I could see how people don't like this, the game doesn't tell you how to do everything necessarily. Like, you can get through the game fine, which is what it tells you.
Right.
But there's, like, some little combo variations you could do like that you just kind of... I just learned by just playing.
Right.
I was like, oh, that was weird.
And I like it's almost Bayonetta style, that the weapons behave differently if it's in your primary or secondary
Yeah,
slot.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
so
yeah.
cool. I really like that.
I love the chip system. I thought the chip system was really cool. Nice way to customize your character and how you want to play.
Yeah, so with the chip system, basically you have this tower that you can slot different chips in, and depending on the strength of the chip, it might take up more space or less space, and so you can customize it and do a lot of different configurations. Did you find yourself changing that often throughout the game, or did you kind of find something that worked?
Yeah, earlier on in the game, I was messing around with a lot more. Then I found a couple chips that I felt were like, I need to have these.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I had a chip, if you don't get hit for like a certain amount of seconds, it just gives you health back, and I got a really good one that gave me a ton of health back, where I was kind of, I feel like, semi-overpowered at that point.
Did you ever have chips break?
I don't know. I can't remember.
It's like Dark Souls, if you don't get it back to them.
Okay, I think I did then, yeah. I didn't die that much in the game, but I might have, some of them probably broke then, because I retrieved my body a couple times.
That was my worst panic, Brad, was always just like, I gotta get back to my body. I need my chips. My chips
kinda,
are so valuable.
I was
kind of
confused about that. I was like, do all my chips break, or is it just some of them? Is that how it works? Is it all your chips that break?
All your chips that were equipped when you die, those will go away if you don't get back to your body.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was confused about that because I was looking through my menus. I'm like, oh, I thought I had a chip like that.
It's like way worse than losing souls. It's like, oh, I need those chips.
Yeah, because, I mean, now that I know that kind of deters you from wanting to buy some chips, maybe. Some of the more expensive ones. I mean,
Sure.
I was loaded by the end of the game, but I could see that. Yeah, I think I kind of like that risk, though.
It's huge. Yeah,
Yeah, I like that
it
risk
too.
reward thing, but I can see how people don't like that. Definitely. Especially if you spend a bunch of money on chips, and you're like, yeah.
Was the lack of autosave ever an issue for either one of you? Did you ever lose significant
No,
progress?
it was not for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess not for me either. I think it was one of those things where you just heard it enough. Like how I know Chapter 13 is bad in Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
I think I heard just save. Dudes, save. I think I just heard that
Yeah,
a
I
lot.
saved often, all the time.
Yeah, that is just kind of how I play. I
Yeah.
sympathize for people that bitch or whatever. But every single game that I play, I'm just saving all
Save
the
often.
time.
Yeah.
So Brad, with the combat, some people argue that you don't have to think too much, that you can just kind of spam dodge your way through
Yeah.
it. Was that an issue for you, or you still enjoyed it regardless?
Well, I had the context of the original Nier.
Sure.
And it was such a step up for me compared to the original one.
Okay.
Where I was like thankful that was there. But for someone who's never played Nier and who's played other games, like if they think this game's Bayonetta or like Devil May Cry maybe with like the depth of combat, you might be disappointed. But it was just such an improvement for me. I was like, yes, thank you.
What did you feel? You mentioned the side quest that you were doing. How did you feel about the world itself? Was that interesting, fun to explore?
The world. Okay, so the world is good. I like the world. The game has tech problems where it runs bad at some spots. Like a lot of frame hitches when you're running through the world.
Yep.
Which definitely, it happens a lot too. So you notice it all the time, and it kind of deters me from wanting to explore more of the world. I loved some of the ideas, like you could ride the animals like you could in the original Nier, like that. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I love that you can go to all the areas without a loading screen. You could just go through the whole world like that. But some of the areas, there's a lot of invisible walls. Like
Yep.
you couldn't go in buildings, or like something like looks like you can kind of go inside, you can't.
Right.
Or like a wall you should be able to jump up to get to another. You can't.
That definitely.
Which is
happened
kind
to
of
me.
annoying. But I was just like, whatever.
You mentioned that you were still kind of processing what was going on with the story, and I just for the flow of the conversation, we don't have to pick apart every story thing in that right now. But do you feel like? How do you feel about the game's story overall? Do you feel like there was a message there, or at least was it trying to say something? Did you take anything away from it personally?
I don't know what the message was of this game, because
Okay.
I maybe I don't understand it all yet like that.
Uh-huh.
Especially, well, I was kind of disappointed that I felt like I didn't get enough from Nier 1 callbacks into it. Like, there's a few. Like, there's one character that comes back. I wish I had a little more. Like, there's some file reports you get about, like, some characters maybe here and there, but I was kind of hoping for a little more
Sure.
from that sense.
I have a burning question.
Yeah, let me hear it.
This is a huge spoiler. This is super spoiler.
Okay.
We're already in spoiler territory, dude.
We told the people.
Yeah.
It's the one thing I'm curious about. The
Okay.
one reason why I haven't traded it in, why it's still on the shelf. So the premise is humans move to the moon and we work for the humans.
Yes.
There's no humans on the moon, right?
That's what 9S says, but then they talk about other moments where it seems like they're on the moon, so I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. Like
Ben knows.
There's a cannon pointing at the moon to blow it up apparently, but then like they designed it so it doesn't blow up the moon.
There are no humans on the moon.
Okay.
Okay. Dang.
Yeah.
You're hot.
So humanity
Something for humanity, right? That's their-
yeah. Yeah, I forgot it was like something from humanity.
Yeah.
Humanity's extinct at that point. So
I figured
like their
as
whole
much.
mission is like a fraud. They're all supposed to die. Like all the Yorha
Right.
units are supposed
And
to
so-
die.
Yeah, it's weird finding the refugees even, and they're like, oh, you're not humans. You're all robots too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's something that I love about this game that
Yeah.
it does so well, where like it questions the nature of purpose and what that does.
Yeah.
And what it means to believe in something, like, and how important it is whether that thing that you believe in is actually what it is or it's fake. And it does that it does that very well, but it doesn't just analyze that. It's not just like, okay, haha, there aren't humans on the moon. It takes other groups who have different motivations and compares and contrasts them with the androids. And like how the androids look down on the machines, even though the machines in a lot of ways are very, very similar.
Yeah, the game does a good job, I think, of giving, the robots, like most of the machines, they give a good job of giving those machines humanity. The game makes you question, like, if you're doing the right thing a lot. Like, I guess which the original Nier did, too, in a lot of ways. That carries over. Sorry, I want to talk about one point. When 9S finds out about, like, that kind of thing, how there is no humans, necessarily.
Right.
One thing I liked about the game is that you saw his kind of, like, descent into madness when he finds out about this thing, the thing that drives him to keep doing what he's doing. And it's like, well, there is no good guy necessarily in this game. There is no necessarily bad guy. It's up to you, I guess, to kind of decide.
Yeah, the ending of the game, the ending of the game and the decision that you have to make, kind of arguing for the collective good and the sacrifices needed to ensure that a new breed of people can survive.
Yeah.
It's pretty heady stuff, and I want to talk about that because I feel like there are a lot of games, right, where that have analyzed a lot of sci-fi, a lot of JRPGs that have sort of talked about the relationship between man and machine and what it means to be human, and these are themes that Nier explores. I don't want to oversimplify, but these are themes that Nier explores. What do you think? Do you think it hits it on the nose a little too directly, or do you think there are things that it does that make this conversation interesting, or that it has new elements that it presents? What makes it work in Nier, or maybe it doesn't work in other things?
I don't know. It's maybe like about like the kind of stuff like exploring like what it is to be an android or like what happens to me kind of thing like that. You get a sense of like going in their mind, kind of like a lot of the hacking parts is like inside their mind and figuring out how they're dealing with that. Like a lot of it deals like after death kind of thing like that. What happens to them when they die? Like they do that a lot with 9S, you know. He dies a lot in this game, and it's kind of like how he goes through all that. It's hard for me to say for sure because I'm still confused
Processing.
about some stuff. Yeah, I don't have everything nailed down.
To me, it's something that you mentioned when 2B calls him Nines.
Yes.
Where I feel like this is a game that isn't constantly reminding you that they're androids. Where they act so human that the moments where they decide to pull that curtain back and you have something crazy, like they die and then you see them again, it's a little bit jarring because their mannerisms and the way that they're written are so human, and the way that they slowly build up the relationships are so human that and they space out those very android moments enough that it gives them a lot of impact.
Yeah.
I would say.
And it's good voice acting too.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
part
it's
of
very
the,
good.
I
It's
think
very
the
good.
performances lend
Very
to what
good.
you're talking
Yeah.
about, Ben.
Yeah, absolutely. I think particularly 2B. If I had to give
One of the strong characters, yeah.
you were the best.
I think
at
all
this.
three of them were pretty good, though.
They're all three pretty good. Not to take away from the others, but yeah, just the evolution of 2B, how that character changes, and the way that emotion is presented. Very strong performance, for sure.
Yeah. Oh man, like I loved all the stuff with the other the other machines, Adam and Eve. Kind of like I like those conversations they had when they were both sitting across from the table.
Yeah.
And they're like reading verses out of the Bible, and like he's like, "Why am I eating this apple?" kind of thing. Like, why do I have to be like a human? Kind of thing like that.
Yeah. That scene where you see all of the machines trying to fornicate and then forms out of that big blob and you fight it. It's such a WTF moment, but then when you go back and you pick it apart and you use all of the information the game gives to you, it makes sense. It's not just there to shock, and that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Brad, question. Maybe to get this back on track a little bit. With games where sometimes there are games where I feel like they don't always present the story super well, where they're either you have to go dig for it in collectibles or something, and I just can't be bothered to do that. But games where I feel like there's something there, but I don't fully understand it, I usually reach a crossroads where it's like, am I going to go on YouTube and spend the additional time to figure this out? Do you think Nier is a good enough game where you want to know more? You want to?
For me personally, yeah.
Okay.
Especially because it's a part of a bigger universe. You know, it's connected to Drakengard games and Nier 1. I would like to see it all fit together. Like, I like Kingdom Hearts, dude. Of course I like this kind of stuff. I love Dark Souls. Of course I love this kind of stuff.
Right.
But I think the game is strong enough for people would want to invest in it, kind of look in it more into the universe. I think it's a very interesting universe. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, for me.
What else you got for me, Brad?
I'll talk about the other game I was playing briefly. So new Overwatch hero was announced. His name is Doomfist. Long-awaited Doomfist. He's out on the PTR, which is the public test realm. I played a little bit of him. He's a attack hero. He's pretty fun, Ben. Have you played him yet? Have you messed around with him?
No.
Ben, he does a dragon uppercut, dude.
Brad,
he's got it. He does it.
Is it forward, down, forward?
No, it's like E.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I'm curious. What I'm most curious about this guy is what are his weapons? Because I know he's got a huge robot arm, which is really cool.
Let me break down the moveset for you, okay?
Sure. Yeah, please.
So, yeah, he just has this big Doomfist. It's on his right arm.
Yeah.
And his left arm, he's got, like, a little, when you look at, like, Wolverine's, like, where his claws come out, like, on his suit, like, the little metal things that pop. He's kind of got stuff like that. He could shoot, like, 4 shots, like, like almost like a little shotgun.
Okay. Are there lasers then? It's just like
no,
oh, they're bullets.
Lasers. Yeah, it looks like bullets.
Okay.
Interesting because it auto reloads too. You don't push auto reload, just does it on its own. That's his like basic normal attack, I would say. And then he has
he covers the barrel with his finger.
Yeah, he does. Just with his huge arm, he does that. His other attack is he has like a leap kind of attack, man, where he slams the ground and like kind of crackles in front of him.
Yeah.
Almost like a Winston leap, but way worse. So it just looks. It's like the Winston leap is sick. Yeah. You get huge air on that thing and everything like that. This is just like a little thing like that. It's still fun though. He's got the uppercut, Ben. So you can uppercut a hero, and they go flying in the air with you. So you could do like a sweet combo where you slam them to the ground, like you slam right in front of them, uppercut them, and when you're both in the air, you're shooting at them with your other arm. Mm-hmm. And his
Does he say anything when you uppercut him?
He says like uppercut or something like uppercut.
Okay, I feel like this is very important.
He goes,
like a
make or dragon
break
uppercut. No, he doesn't say that. But he says like uppercut or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
But his big move, which makes him stand out the most, is his fist, his Doom Fist.
Yeah.
So it's his right arm.
In the name.
You could charge it up. He holds on, goes like, you see the little meter go up. You can unleash it anytime you wish, but if you power it up, obviously it does a little more. You can get some more ground. The thing about this is you can punch someone with this, it does damage to them, but if you punch them and they hit a wall when you punch them, it does way more damage. So you can one-shot a lot of heroes with this kind of ability. Oh, also when you punch them, Kyle, you punch them in the wall and there's like a crack on the wall.
Oh, and that was the hint. You saw the crack in the other.
Yes, you
did. I love stuff like that, Brad.
Yeah.
You're talking about connecting video. Oh, that's.
But so the thing about this fist is it also has mobility to it. So you can use this fist, like let's say, easy to learn, hard to master kind of things. Like you can do more with it than you might not expect, or someone playing for the first time. So you could do your combo. You get in a situation where you uppercut and you need to get out of there real quick. You can charge punch to direction real quick to get out there, get some mobility. Maybe someone's on some high ground from you.
Yeah.
Which seems really cool. I'm slightly concerned right now they might be too overpowered. Slightly. I haven't seen them really in like an actual team comp, so it's hard for me to say. Seems really fun though, and his ult is pretty cool. It's called like Orbital Strike or something. Just jumps in the air, and you have like a circle like a reticle you could see on the ground moving around, and you're controlling, you're moving, and you click down, and he eventually lands and smashes on people.
I see.
Which is pretty fun. But it's not cheap, I don't think, because you can have time to dodge it. But if you're not careful, you'll get smashed.
So it's something where you want another hero to immobilize them.
Maybe, or like you catch them in a moment of panic or something like that, or they're not necessarily watching.
Are they aware on is the
they
circle
can see
visible?
They can see it. Yes.
Got it. Okay.
What's the range like for that? When you activate it, how far away can you go?
I mean, you can move pretty far.
Okay.
It's just like your hero's. It's him just floating in the sky somewhere. I mean, you can't look up and see him going, but like you can go pretty good distance like that. So you could leap out, then come around a corner really fast, maybe, or something like that. Try to catch people off guard.
He sounds really fun.
Yeah, he's very fun.
And it's just just the way that you were talking about chaining moves together, and the movement in the air. On the surface, it sounds very, very different. Are there any other heroes that you could maybe draw parallels to, or?
Mobility, like he has a lot of mobility.
Yeah.
I would say like that's gonna be like the big thing with him is because for heroes like Genji has a ton of mobility where you can like a lot of like verticality kind of mobility like that you can go multiple directions, or like Tracer has a lot of mobility.
Yeah.
But it's mostly flat kind of mobility like this. It seems like he can get around a lot of places. Cooldowns aren't that long, so he seems super mobile, really strong punches. So I'm like, that's what I said I was kind of worried about, but we'll see, I guess.
You're excited to play more Doomfist. You're going to spend a lot of time
I think he's
with
cool,
Doomfist.
but it's not going to take away from my favorite heroes, maybe. I might not pick, like, if he's really good, I'll play him and stuff like that, but it wouldn't be a hero I would pick over others out of pure fun factor for me.
Hey, what happened to the robot Ox?
Ox?
Yeah,
The
like
robot
the
Ox.
centaur.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's in the game.
Orisa? Yeah, she's in the game.
I don't. So I don't play the game, and I
Yeah.
only like pick up what I see off Twitter and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I feel like nobody likes that thing.
She's like not great. She's okay, I guess. She's very situational.
I
would say.
also remember people pretty adamantly not liking her design.
Yeah, she's hideous. I hate
Yeah.
it.
Okay, all right.
terrible.
Okay, just
I
like
hate
that.
it.
Thank
I
you,
hate
Brad.
that design.
I need this. Yeah.
Brad, you're talking about how Doomfist may not replace the heroes that you
For me
spend
personally,
a lot
yeah.
of time with. Yeah. What do you think it would take, and do you think you're going to get to a point where you're just so comfortable with certain heroes that it's going to be hard to move you away from that zone?
I mean, I love trying out new heroes all the time like that.
Sure.
It's just like, do I have more fun playing as this hero necessarily? Like, I've got a lot to learn with this hero. He's not even like technically out yet.
Sure.
So I need to see more of him in the world, how it kind of plays into all that.
Do you think Doomfist is going to be a threat? Do you think we're going to see a lot of Doomfist?
He seems like a threat right now.
Okay.
I'll tell you that. So, but I thought that about Sombra too when she first came out.
Right.
She kind of came out dead in the water. So we'll see. She has some. She seems to be pretty good against him though,
Interesting.
because she can hack him. And he's screwed, dude. If he doesn't have his moveset, he's toast. He's
I really
toast.
like Sombra.
So to make a new character who is not.
Yeah, they're
why-
like, well, no one likes this character.
let's
so we'll
make her better by introducing
Yeah.
a new character
Yeah.
to make her.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Brad, have they talked about the skins with Doomfist?
No,
Are the
there's
skins?
none in there yet.
Okay.
In the PTR, there's no skins, no voice lines that I'm aware of.
Because that makes or breaks it, right?
Oh, you gotta have the skin,
Gotta
baby.
have the skins.
Like, it seems like such a petty thing, but that's such a big thing in that game.
That's what people make the most noise about.
Yeah, it's like that's where they make the money. That's where the weird fan art comes from.
Yeah.
See all those Twitter posts about that new skin, that hot skin coming out.
What would you want to see for a Doomfist skin?
Doomfist skin. I want a Kuma skin. I just want to be Akuma. That'd be pretty sick.
Just Akuma, just like licensed from Capcom Akuma?
Yeah, like partnership.
So he says Shoryuken when he does it.
No, I want him to though.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want.
Yeah.
I want that kind of stuff. I don't know, like what's a hero like? I would love to see a Steel skin, like Shaquille O'Neal Steel.
Yeah.
That'd be really funny.
Yes.
Like what's a character
That's a
that
good
is
one.
like known for like a One Punch Man's the most obvious one. A One Punch Man skin.
If you just got a Saitama skin, that would be really
like
cool.
when you do his charge move, it just goes one punch
Yeah.
when you're doing or something like that. That'd be like
Okay.
10 out of 10.
Well, now we've set it up so
Like
the skins
if
will
you're
be a
playing
disappointment for
Doomfist,
sure.
you should just play the theme song on repeat.
Yeah.
When you're playing as him, and you'll do 3 times better.
Yeah.
The first person to upload that video gets 1 million views.
Oh, I bet it's
Yep.
already up.
Yep.
It's already up.
Get that up.
That happened when Doomfist was just rumored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Brad, let's round it out here. What else you got for me?
So, not a video game.
Not a video game.
Related to video games, though,
Yeah.
I watched the Castlevania animated series on Netflix.
Brad, people are freaking out about this.
It's good. It's 4 episodes, which is kind of disappointing, but there's more coming confirmed.
More on the way, yeah.
More on the way. The cool thing is it's based off Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse,
Mm-hmm.
which is very cool. So it kind of fits in that timeline. You expect very rated R, first up. If you're going to watch this, don't watch this with your kids. A lot of,
Is it-
like, very gory.
Is
Very
it
gory.
just violence?
Very gory. Some language.
Okay.
I think there's a couple F-bombs.
Nice.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No nudity or anything like that. There hasn't been. Starts off the story. I guess, like, how do you talk about an animated series without kind of some spoilers?
I think you can give the setup for
So
sure.
I'll give you the very beginning setup of the show. Like, this is all the first episode.
Yeah.
Spoilers just in case you're worried about it. Comes up this woman going into Dracula's castle. She wants to learn more about like magic, kind of technology or knowledge that Dracula possesses to help people. So her and Dracula kind of start talking. Dracula takes her in, eventually get married. So husband and wife. Later on, his wife burned at the stake by the church for being a witch. They think she's a witch, heretic, all that kind of stuff.
Because she's married to Dracula.
Correct. When they think she's doing witchcraft, kind of stuff like that.
Well, she is.
Well, yeah, but she's like, it's science or stuff like that.
Okay.
She's like, don't be mean to them. They don't know. Kind of thing like that. Dracula finds out about this. Dracula's trying to be a better person at this point.
Yeah.
Like he's
That's so sad.
Instead of like turning into a bat and traveling around, he's like walking like a normal human.
Sure.
Trying to be a good husband, kind of a better person.
Reformed by love.
Yeah, like at the beginning they show like all the corpses like on like impaled and everything like that, like Vlad Dracula would do. And he's like, I don't do that anymore, kind of stuff like that. Well, when you burn Dracula's wife alive at the stake, Dracula's gonna get a little pissed off. So he pretty much comes.
It's a good premise.
Like threatens all the humans. It's like, you got 1 year before I summon the armies of hell to destroy you, kind of thing like that. And they're all like scared at the time. Then they all think it's like BS from the church telling them not to worry about it. It was a real threat. Monsters from hell come out.
Okay.
Start killing villagers. Dude, I did not know it was this violent.
Yeah.
Like, you're seeing intestines coming out and stuff like that. Heads getting ripped off. People getting munched, burned. I was just like, whoa, dude.
That when you say Dracula unleashing hell, though, that's what I want it to feel like.
It felt like it, man.
Yeah.
Like the spawn of Satan are coming out.
So, Brad, it sounds from this description like the appeal is just witnessing that chaos get unleashed, just the sheer badassery of it.
It's nice to see it in a
Is there more to it than that?
I mean, there's more to it. It's very faithful to the game franchise. Like, it hits the beats that people like especially me, because I love Castlevania 3, Ben.
Right.
You'll see some characters you might recognize from Castlevania 3. And you're like, yes, it's very faithful into that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And just seeing, like, Castlevania, it's respect. They treat the source material respectfully, Ben.
I see.
Like,
Does
the
it
guys
ever
that-
get cute?
There's some humor, but it was never like where I was like,
Nobody like eats a turkey to heal.
Right.
No,
That's exactly
no. There's
what I
none
was
of that.
thinking.
None of that.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, there's Trevor Belmont. He's like trying to get drunk at parts like that, but it's
How are
about
the
that kind.
performances?
I think the voice acting's pretty good, believable. Yeah, I think all the voice actors were great from what I heard. Like, Dracula sounds cool. All the other, like, Trevor Belmont, main character, obviously from 3. He's great in it. I really like his interpretation in this game.
Sure.
He's still got that badass scar from Curse of Darkness, though. Oh, man, I hope they do something
That's what
with...
you're talking about, dude. No one else recognizes that scar, you know?
Yeah,
That's
it's-
cool. That's cool that they put stuff in there.
See, when I was watching this, I'm like, oh, man,
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll incorporate characters from Curse of Darkness, like Hector or Isaac that will come along, like the Devil Forge Masters.
The
if
answer
they'll
is
be in it.
yes.
I hope so.
The scar means they care.
Yeah. I mean, his outfit looks different, but it looks very Belmont, you know? It reminds me of Simon's outfit kind of from the Chronicles.
Sure.
It's got, like, the fur on and everything like that. It looks great. He's got the cross. I mean, he's
It's
got
a
the
good
wit,
outfit.
the vampire killer. Yeah, he looks awesome in it, dude. Some of the other characters you're going to recognize, Ben, you're going to be like, yes, these characters are in Castlevania 3.
Is there a castle?
Yes, there is a castle.
Okay.
So when we're talking about these recognizable characters, that can be tricky stuff for adaptations where
Yeah.
it's just like, yep, here we are now, or do they
They
feel
tie
pretty
them into the
massaged
story
in this-
appropriately.
Okay. How
Like,
do they do that?
For instance, one of the characters is a specific section of well, there's two characters that they kind of show in it. One of them is kind of a sleeping hero that's like a legend that these two other characters are trying to find. You might be able to figure out who that is,
Okay.
knowing on past things like that. And like Trevor Belmont's kind of like, it's bullshit, I don't believe it, kind of thing like that.
Brad, no one else remembers these NES characters.
Yeah, they do.
This is crazy. You remember these characters, and you're like, you'll know. It's like, I'll have no idea.
If you're a fan of, like, you'll know these characters even if you haven't played Castlevania 3, at least one of them. You'll
Okay,
know.
all right.
Very recognizable character.
Okay.
I feel like for me, it'd be a lot of aha moments, like, oh, like not in. It seemed like you immediately recognized them, and I can't imagine having that same experience.
Well, because I know the characters of 3,
Right.
and when I see the character, like, their design, it reminds me a lot of their 3 design. When I
Sure.
see, like, for instance, I see one of the characters do an ability
Mm-hmm.
in the cartoon that I kind of recognize from the game. I'm like, oh, yeah. Then they say their name. I'm like, oh, of course.
Sure,
of course
it's
it's
cool.
them.
That's cool.
Brad, by the end of the 4 episodes, how does it leave you? Is it kind of a cliffhanger?
wanting more.
Okay.
Wanting more, Ben.
Was there kind of a complete story in those 4 episodes?
It felt like to me, this was supposed to be a trilogy. I think it was supposed to be a movie originally, but it leaves off on a cliffhanger, of course. Like, spoilers, Kyle. No, I mean not the castle yet.
Okay.
We're not even in castle.
Yeah, I mean, in 4 episodes, how are you supposed to get to the castle?
Exactly. Like they're doing the appropriate build to it.
Play it slow. Yeah. Play it slow.
I mean, because Castlevania 3, it's not all in the castle.
Yep.
Just getting that slow appropriate build, and they finally get there, man. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be something magical, Kyle.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you see the castle, and you see like the first room they walk into, and I was like, yes.
I want them to spend 2 seasons in that castle once they finally get in.
Yeah. It's pretty great. It's pretty great, man.
How's the music?
The music was kind of weird. It wasn't like or like crazy music like that. It was just standard music. The music is not a standout for me at all in this, which is kind of disappointing because Castlevania is known so much for the music.
Right.
But it might get to that moment, like on a certain scene, maybe you'll hear like a familiar theme.
Okay.
Like maybe when they get to Dragon's Castle, you hear like bloody tears or something crazy going on.
But it sounds like, based on everything that you're describing, you believe they can do that well.
Yeah. I'm very, very confident in this series now.
Kyle, you gonna watch this?
Yep.
Hell yeah. Both of you should watch it.
Oh, I'm going to.
I mean, if you're a fan...
It's just been time. That's all.
To see things that, like, video games do not get necessarily great representation in movies a lot.
That's fair to say.
That's fair to say. I would say like 95% of the time. It's not great.
Yeah.
This honors the source material very well. The creators know what they're doing with this series. They're fans of the series, and you can tell. And it shines through with the quality.
Okay. Anything you don't like about it? Anything as a Castlevania fan you wish they would have done better?
It's hard for me to, like, of course I want to see more recognizable, like, monsters, or, like, I want to see more of the castle. Mm-hmm. Kind of stuff like that. Like, this felt like just Act 1. This is what it felt like to me, Like, it's not complete, it's just a part.
Sure. I want to watch it right now.
You should watch it. You should go home and watch it.
It's only 4 episodes.
It's
only 4 episodes.
It's such an easy watch, too,
I
man.
know.
It's like an hour and 20 minutes. We got this.
Yeah, it's so
We got
cozy.
it.
It's such an easy watch, man.
I'm almost done with Yu Yu Hakusho.
Nice,
Almost
dude.
done.
You're meshy.
Yeah.
You're just
Cool
watching
bar.
Yu Yu Hakusho on the side?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Just on the side?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love it.
I need to watch the newest episode of...
Yeah, like Ben, because I know you know your Castlevania. You're gonna be like, yeah.
Well, it's weird, Brad, because I feel like you have a much better grasp on the lore and the characters of Castlevania. Because to me,
I actually like the timeline of that series.
yeah, I love Castlevania. I adore Castlevania, but I love its design. I love the way Castlevania 1 feels. I love how those levels are structured. I love the way in which it's challenging, except for death, because that's bullshit. And yeah, when I Castlevania for me is a game, especially when thinking about Symphony of the Night, is completely about vibes. It's about being in a place, not about understanding that place.
It's got good vibes,
and that's always kind of my headspace.
It's got your vibes, man.
Okay.
I would say it's got the vibes and it nails
it. If it has that, if it just sort of transports me to that place, that's enough. I don't need the names. I don't need the references. I just need to get that feeling.
Like, I might like this more than... I think it's really good, but I'd probably get more enjoyment out of it because I'm such a fan of the series, and I had that connection with a lot of the characters like that. Absolutely. Like, I'm very curious to see what people who don't know this series necessarily...
what they think of it.
Yeah, like, I'm curious to see what you think of it, Kyle.
Sure.
Because you like Castlevania,
Yeah.
but you don't know, like, the in-depths about it, I would kind of say. So I'm curious to see what you guys kind of think about it.
Yeah. I'm in.
Brad, the reason why I was kind of sighing a little bit when you were talking about Doomfist and Overwatch, and when you were describing Castlevania, is I feel like I'm in this hole right now. And it's a hole of my own making, and I love it. It's just kind of a crazy time for the genres and the games that I'm most interested in, where there are a lot of RPGs right now.
It's so hard right now, dude.
Right, and
It's a struggle.
Right, there are just certain avenues that I'm pursuing that I'm really loving, but they're taking up all of the time.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
In addition to just other work responsibilities and stuff like that. Part of the reason it's such a good time is because I've been playing as much as I can of Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age.
Tell me
I've
about
not finished
Ben.
that game. I'm like 12
Tell me
hours
about
in
it.
or something like that. Something right around there. It's good. It's easy, I think, to immediately sink into hyperbole and say this is how remasters should be done. And I do hesitate there because I'm not taking the totality of remasters. I'll
back you up. Square does good remasters, Ben.
They do. This one seems exceptionally good, Brad. It is not just, hey, we made it look pretty. Hey, we added a couple of things. It is,
well, as far as I'm concerned,
a transformation.
It got the treatment that Kingdom Hearts got because we got the final mixes in the remasters.
Right, and so that's the thing is it feels especially good because we never got the international Zodiac Job edition that only came out in Japan.
They're like, we hear you.
Right.
Here it is, finally. Like, I feel like I've been hearing about this 12 remaster forever.
Right.
Like, I played it like E3 a year ago, and now it's just finally coming out.
Right, and the whole thing about the license board, it changes the way that you feel about character progression because by the end of Final Fantasy XII, the base game, everybody kind of felt the same. They were all on the same board.
Yes.
And so once you sort of figured that out, once you got to that point, it made... Because the license board in theory is so cool. And so for those of you who are not familiar, the way that it works is you start somewhere on this board and you have a bunch of different things that you can invest these points that you're earning into. So it's like, okay, I can spend this amount of points to get more health, or I can spend this amount of points to get new armor. And if you spend points in either one of those places, you'll unlock more squares in that direction. And so you're kind of picking a focus for your character. But when you know, everybody's going to kind of end up the same, it makes your decisions a little bit less interesting. But now that you have jobs attached with their own license board, it's really exciting because everybody in my party has a different job. I don't necessarily know what direction that's going into, and there'll be fights where it's like, oh man, I really wish I had some new spells here for my black mage, but also I need a lot more health because I'm taking a ton of damage.
Can you give me an example of like what Balthier's job is compared to Vaughn's?
So everybody can be anything.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing is, when you get these characters, when they're added into your party, not as guests but as full-fledged members, you can assign a job and the corresponding license board to them. So Vaughn can be... My Vaughn is a Bushi right now.
What are the jobs? Yeah, I don't know what a
There's
Bushi is.
12 jobs.
Okay.
Bushi basically samurai.
How
appropriate. Since there are 12 of them...
Yeah, I don't...
So the white mage, black mage, red battle mage, basically a time mage.
Red battle mage.
Bushi, machinist... What else we got? We got
Ranger.
Knight, we got Monk, we got Archer. What am I forgetting? There's like 3 I'm forgetting.
Summoner?
Not
do
summoner.
It like that?
Wait, did I say white mage?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not a summoner.
Blue mage?
Because the way that summons work differently in Final Fantasy XII than they do in other games.
I think even like differently in this one, in Zodiac Age.
Yeah, because
you still controlling them?
Yeah, you have more control over your summons in this edition. Right. What are those other jobs that I'm forgetting?
You said a lot. You
said
said
a
like
lot.
Time Mage.
Dark Knight?
There's time.
Dark Knight?
I don't think there's Knight. I don't think there's Dark Knight.
Tell me there's a Dragoon.
There's gotta be. There's lances in that game, or spears.
There's a class that specifically is good with lances. I don't know if it's called Dragoon.
We'll call that Dragoon.
Yeah.
Just make a Dragoon.
Yeah, just make it a Dragoon.
Just let it leap. Give it some leaps. Jump.
Well, the thing is new to Zodiac, to this version of the game, you can get, once you get to a certain point in the license board, you can get an additional job.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's like, you get to that. I mean, they do that in old Final Fantasies. You get to that certain
They do
level,
that,
then
but
you unlock new
you
ones.
couldn't do that in the first version. It was just one job for everybody.
Yeah.
And the thing is once you pick a job for somebody, you can't go back. You can't change it.
Ooh, you're locked in.
That's it. You're set in. There's no switching around. Like other Final Fantasies with other job systems. So it is a pretty big decision, and you're going to be wanting to cover different things. Like right now, I have Vaughn as a Bushi. I have Bosch as a knight. I've got Fran as black mage. I've got Balthier as a machinist.
So does the game encourage you to switch party members a lot? Because I remember when I played through 12, I just used 3 characters the whole game.
Yeah. Yes, I would say the jobs make you switch a lot more.
Okay.
Because I was kind of with you, Brad, where I would only, in the original Final Fantasy XII, because you could kind of go everywhere with anybody, it was just like, okay, I need this, but rather than switch out party members, I'll just kind of move one character that I'm already actively using a lot and keeping up with in that direction. But here, there are going to be times where, especially when you can't get additional job yet, because it takes quite a while to get there, to get those second jobs, where you're going to want to be like, okay, I don't need a black mage here. I need more defense. or, oh, I need extra healing here. And so you're mixing up your party quite a bit, to the point where I wish you could have 4 people in your party instead of just 3.
Do they add XP for your whole party now, or is it still just who's out there?
I believe the way that it works is when you're getting license points, you're getting that for everybody. So if you get 2 license points from killing somebody, everybody's getting 2 license points, but not experience.
Okay.
So if you want to keep them up on levels, you do have to switch them out.
I see.
I could be wrong with that, but that's the way it seemed to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ben, I have a question.
Yeah.
So when I played through Final Fantasy XII,
Yeah.
I think it was late. I think it was like 2009. Even then, playing it on a PS3, it's a PS2 game, going to new environments, going to new cities, walking up to a huge temple, I was floored.
Yeah.
Just the
Good
environments
scope.
in that game were huge and detailed, and it just felt, I loved exploring.
Right.
Does it still have an impact to you today?
It does. It does, but it's changed a little bit. So the first city that you're in is still very, very impressive. It still feels big.
Yeah.
You have all of these different shops that you can go in, and there's people milling about these shops. There's a bunch of people that you can just have incidental conversations with. It feels like a city that's alive. You have Low Town and all of the stuff that's going on down there. And the fields that you're going in are still impressive. It's still cool walking by that Tyrannosaurus Rex in the first area and having him just completely destroy you if you decide to fight him. I will say that now everything being divided into zones. I mean, when you're going into around this first city, it's not like you can just freely walk everywhere. Like, the east side is separated from the south side, which is separated from the west side, and so on and so forth. And so that's a little disappointing to go through the zone, have that brief pause, or when you're going into the shop, have that break, like you're not just walking into it. That does hurt, I think, the impressiveness of it a little bit, but it's still there. It's still cool. The presentation of the effects and the detail in the character models is very, very good.
Yeah.
Like, this is a good looking game. There's still some environments that look flat, but the character models specifically, and just the summons, the little videos that play of the bosses, the size of the bosses.
Yeah, this was
all of that
late
stuff.
PS2 game.
Right.
So it really knew the hardware at the time.
Yeah. That stuff looks really good. The remaster does a good job with it. The soundtrack has been completely re-recorded.
Really?
Right. And I remember a lot of the sentiment, and my own sentiment being at the time, that Final Fantasy XII's soundtrack was kind of disappointing, that it didn't live up to kind of the legacy of excellent Final Fantasy soundtracks. And while you can still make that argument here, I don't know if it's the re-recording or what, but there are a lot of times where I'm going like, no, this is good, and just pausing to listening to it, and the soundtrack is more impressive
Than you
I
remember.
remember
Good.
it being.
That's good.
And that's really good. But yeah, so the job stuff, great, but really though, it's that fast forward button. It's all about that fast forward button.
Yeah, sure.
Because it just makes everything in that game easier to digest, and because it's easier to digest, you want to do it more. So with hunts, right, you're going to the board, you're getting your hunts, you're going out there, you're finding these monsters. When you get the hunts, it's like, okay, you have to go find this person, talk to them, then you have to go out and do the hunt, and then you have to go back to them. And just that whole process of getting back and forth, being like, nope, okay,
a lot of filler time.
Right, it's a lot of filler time, and the areas that you're wandering in, where you like, let's say you're just looking for one monster, you don't care about anything else you're fighting. Just being able to fast forward, so you can make it twice as fast, or you can make it 4 times as fast, and it cuts down so much. There's a part on you're on this dreadnought, you're on this Imperial dreadnought. And it's a great place to grind because the alarm has been tripped and guards are constantly rushing you. And I was like, I'm gonna take advantage of this, right? Being able to speed it up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so nice.
Right. And all of this is feeding into each other because you have these jobs that you want to mess around with. You're not sure what their capabilities are. You want to kind of abuse the system and do that. And the game is like, hey, why don't you just speed it up? We'll make it easier to get points. And so it creates this super addicting loop that's really fun to mess around with. And I know it's not so novel now, but it's still appreciated that there's no transition to any sort of battle screen or anything like that.
Yeah.
You're just running around this environment. You're getting into a fight. You can even set it up so everybody has a gambit where as soon as they see somebody, they're attacking. And just because of the fast forward button, there's such a good flow to this game that was totally not present in the original.
Ben, talk to me about how the story and characters are holding up for you.
Yeah.
Because I
It's hit and miss,
remember
Brad.
a lot of the characters, some of the most interesting characters to me were the side characters in that game.
Sure. What do you? I guess.
Like, I
classify
can't
as
remember a
side
lot of
character?
their names, but, like, the younger brother that comes with you on some of the quests, I remember he was really cool. Like, I know Vaughn is, like, kind of the main character. They set it up kind of like, or they market it that way, but he's not really kind of.
Right. So Vaughn is a mess.
Okay.
Vaughn is not a good addition to this game. And it's frustrating because it's so painfully obvious that they're trying to build this relationship between him and Balthier, where he's looking up to him as a sky pirate. He wants to go and he wants to fly. But the way he has the only lines in the game so far that I've been listening to, where he will say something and it'll just fall flat. It'll just be completely dead.
Oh, no.
Where it's like he has these dreams and he has these motivations, but the game is too busy dealing with this
With, like, the
invasion,
Empire and everything
right,
else.
the betrayals
Like
going on,
Balthier
all
and
this other
Bosch's
stuff.
story, yeah.
That it sort of feels inserted at the worst times. Like it wants to tell this big political story, and that's where it excels at.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also trying to force this more personal, like, street urchin, what's going on with his brother character that is just not working. It's just not working at all. And yeah, the delivery on some of Vaughn's lines are not very good. And it's funny because, like, Balthier
Oh my god, he's so good.
stealing every
10
scene
out
he's
of 10
in.
character.
Like, the lines that he's saying are well delivered. They're very funny. They still sound super good. And he's just
Great voice
a
acting,
cool
yeah.
character.
Yeah, like I love him. I love Bosch. I love all those characters.
I like Fran a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fran's cool.
Yeah, I like Fran a lot as well.
How's the villain this time around? I remember the villain, pretty forgetful.
To me, if I were to draw him, I would draw the exact same guy I draw from Final Fantasy. I'd draw Seymour.
Sure.
To me, that like they look exactly the same in my mind
Sure.
right now.
Yeah, that's a complaint that I think a lot of people have of Vane or even of the judges, is that they don't have quite the same menace as past Final Fantasy villains.
I love the judges though.
I do too.
But-
I don't agree with that, because to me Vane is perfect for the story that he's in, where he is lying to people's faces. He's presenting a side of himself to the public in one way and then doing something else
Dirty
in private
politician.
in another way. And so I like that. I think that's kind of a cool dynamic that they're playing with. And man, when you see the judges, when they step on the scene, there's a good moment pretty early on where this guy is talking back to an Imperial Guard and he's just kind of being snobby to him, and then a judge steps in and his attitude completely changes. Like the alpha in the room was completely dwarfed by this judge, and it's kind of a cool scene. And you hear, before you see him, you just hear the clank of the armor. and
Yeah,
it's
I
pretty
mean,
cool.
I like that Final Fantasy XII does a lot of stuff different like that kind of
Right.
sense, like how it presents its villain and everything like that.
Right.
It just didn't work for me really when I played it the first time. It didn't feel strong enough when I first played it.
Right. It's not going to be for everybody. And I
Sure.
think the thing to consider is, much like Final Fantasy Tactics, they're speaking in a very particular way.
Yeah.
Particularly people on the Empire side.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody, really. There's an ornateness to their language. There's a drawn-out nature to their language. Like, you play Final Fantasy XIII, you play Final Fantasy XV, you play Final Fantasy X. For the most part, most of the characters are speaking like average human
They definitely
beings.
have their own like dialect.
And yeah, I don't think it's gonna work for everybody, but I think because it's so different and it's something that we don't often see in Final Fantasy, it's working for me.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't like when I played it. I didn't feel that grudge or hatred for a villain as I did for past Final Fantasies, maybe.
Yeah.
But that was a long time ago, and I'm playing this game again, man. I'm gonna play it, so I'm gonna see how I feel again.
Yeah, like I said, I'm 12 hours into this remaster and slowly revisiting and reevaluating my opinions every time. So I don't want to say the story is good or bad in one way. I don't think it's an amazing story. I don't think the story is the strong point here.
Sure.
But I think it's shift in focus. I think learning how there are many different factions, and they're all trying to change the world in a different way, and all of them are connected to others in ways that you wouldn't expect. And so it's this pretty grand web, and it's kind of fun seeing that play out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think Vaughn is very good. I don't think Penelo is very good. I don't necessarily think that these are the strongest characters of the series, but I still think there's enough
There's
there.
a lot of good. There's still a lot of good there.
There's still a lot of good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Kyle, how do you feel about Final Fantasy XII?
I love Final Fantasy XII.
What do you love about it?
I liked those environments a lot, Ben. I liked the world of that.
Vibe.
Great vibes, great faces.
Yeah.
Really
just
good faces.
uniquely structured and textured faces. It has its own unique look to it. And yeah, I like gambits. I really do. I like programming my party.
I love it.
You asked me like about the Final Fantasy XV battle system. You know what I mean? And like
Right.
I don't care that I have to press circle at the right time every second. I don't.
Right.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 12, all the same. I don't mind that I'm not like selecting every move at every second. It's cool.
Right. That's the thing about Final Fantasy XII that I think is so cool is the gambit system and how much control it gives you over absolutely everything. I mean, even early on, even at the point where I'm at in the game, like you're just constantly trying to evolve your gambits to be as efficient as possible. You don't always need to be, but the fact that the game lets you be like, hey, if you want to unlock all these different gambit slots and you want to try to account for as many situations as possible, and then you're going to a fight and it's like, oh, I didn't account for that situation. All right, maybe I shouldn't have them heal me at less than 70% health. Maybe I should have them heal me at 50% health for this fight. Maybe I should have this character focus on this much support and this much fighting. Just all of that stuff. It is so incredibly satisfying to fine-tune all of that. And if you're that kind of person, if you kind of like trying to be as efficient as possible, it's really, really cool. And I wish more games would do it, because a lot of times in JRPGs you get that like generic, all right, be more aggressive here, focus on healing. And you end up having a lot of times where your party members don't function exactly as you want to when they're automated. And that doesn't happen in Final Fantasy 12. Like, you are in total control of every single thing that they do. And I was also thinking about it, it's just nice where there are just basic situations where, like, let's say a party member is down, like, yeah, revive them. Don't make me hit the button, go into the menu, select white magic, select raise, do it. Like, just take care of it for me. And again, talking about the flow of the game, it just speeds things up. And because it's speeding things up, I'm not getting sick of the battles. And gambits are a big part of that.
Yeah, but that speed up helps
system.
a lot.
Yeah.
Is it Gilgamesh, the guy who's got the swords from all the different Final Fantasy games?
Yes.
Never beat him when I played through Final Fantasy 12. I would love to play through this again and beat him.
Sure.
He was
You can
hard.
do it, Kyle.
I couldn't beat him, but then I gave up and decided to finish the game, and it was super easy at that point because I had like grinded like crazy.
Sure. The trial mode is brand new. Well, I mean,
What is
it
it?
was in the Japanese only version, but the trial mode is basically you have 100 battles, and you take your party from the base game. You basically carry them over into this separate mode, and you do 100 fights. And every 10 fights that you clear, you get a reward.
Oh, cool.
And
Is it like an arena battle thing or something like that?
yeah, it's
A
basically an arena
Coliseum?
battle, and so you have stages. So in the first stage, you're just fighting rats in the sewers, like you do at the very beginning of Final Fantasy XII. But then, like the last fight that you do from the first set of 10 is you're fighting Belias.
Yeah.
And that gets progressively harder. And what's really cool about it is they've specifically designed it so you can't you're whatever gambit system you set up, there's no one gambit system that will carry you through the whole thing. And so I feel like even in the first 10 fights when I was taking my early on party, the first half was good, but once I got to 6, 7, and 8, you're fighting so many enemies in some of these battles, and they're all doing different things to you. Some of them just do a lot of raw damage, some of them are inflicting a lot of status effects, that it's a really fun condensed version of the best parts of that battle system.
It's cool.
That pleases me hearing you say, like, you can't just use one kind of strategy to get through it all.
Right.
Because, like, the base game, I put Berserk on 2 party members and I controlled the healer.
Yeah.
And I just crushed everything in the game.
Yeah.
But that's very nice. I'm glad that's in there now.
Yeah, the thing that you talked about how you were able to kind of use the gambit system to your advantage to break the game. I'm curious to see if there are going to be, like, job combinations where you can very much cheese it.
Oh, I'm sure
and how
there will
broken
be.
That's going to be.
I mean, it's hard to avoid in a lot of, like, most games. Like, someone will dig deep enough and find something, probably.
Yeah, what I guess the ultimate takeaway for me with the Zodiac Age is we're doing a don't skip on it that might be out by the time that you see this, where it was like, okay, because this is a remaster, because it's a game that I've played before, am I just going to play enough to do that don't skip and talk about what's new and why that matters? or am I going to like it so much? Is it going to be good enough that I want to play it? It's like the thing I want to play right now.
Great. That's good news.
It is really good.
Good
It is
news.
a great remaster.
Excellent.
I already liked 12 a lot, but I feel like this is bumping it up even further.
Great.
My personal Final Fantasies. The next game, the last game that I want to talk about before we move on, is a game that just came out on Friday in Japan that I've been dipping my toes into. Gundam Versus.
Oh.
Of course, it all makes sense now.
So you imported this?
Yeah, basically I bought PSN digital codes off of PlayAsia and
gotcha.
I just downloaded it off of PSN.
How cool.
Gundam Versus is super intense. Very high skill ceiling.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But
That's not what I expect.
I am having so much fun. Oh, man. So Gundam Versus, the way that it works is you're in these 3D battle arenas, and it's all about managing your boost. Everything is about managing your boost. So you can, like, shoot up into the air, and that takes up your boost. You can dash. That'll take up your boost. You can do different variations of that dash. But you can also, like, you'll have your laser swords, right? And you'll run up to somebody and you'll melee attack them. You can use your boost to chain that attack and make it longer, to extend your combo, basically. So boost is also your combo extender. And so you have this really great balancing act where they're shooting their weapons at you, and ranged weapons are generally easy to dodge. But to dodge them effectively, especially if you're fighting multiple people, you're going to need to use that boost. You're also, because everybody can move so much, you're going to need to use your boost to close in the distance. You're also going to want to use your boost to chain together combos. And so when you see, like, I got online and I fought somebody and they were just so good at it, they completely destroyed me. When you see good players do it, the way that they move is so precise. They're not just spamming that. They know, like, they'll harass you, they'll do long-range shots to get you to dodge, to waste your boost to the point where you can't get away, and then they capitalize on it and do a huge combo on you by using their own boost.
How many players in a match?
It depends. You can do one-on-one. I believe you can do, like, 4v4 as well. I was just doing 1v1.
Okay, cool.
Was the one that I was doing, and then I was doing offline stuff as well. There are a ton of different Gundams that you can choose.
Yeah, tell me about the roster, Ben.
Yeah,
Tell me this roster.
I don't know the whole roster.
Okay.
There's a lot, but my favorite was Turn A Gundam.
Okay.
Yes.
Turn A Gundam was so much fun because the default setup, you're using these twin laser swords, and then your ranged attack, your default ranged attack is not just a laser gun. It is these giant ball on chain, spike ball on chains that you're throwing out there and hitting them with. A ton of fun. Barbados was fun as well. Spent a lot of time with him.
Tell me about that Death Scythe, Ben.
Didn't play Death Scythe. Not yet.
They're in there.
Which version, though?
It's got to be in there.
But the controls take some time to get used to. And I find myself using the D-pad to get those precise boosts. Like, to guard, you hit down on the D-pad and then you hit up and you hold it.
Oh.
And so it's not just
block?
like a...
Weird.
It's not...
Because it's an arcade game first, right?
Right, it's an arcade game first, so it's coming from the arcade, yep. And you have different... So basically, as you get hit, you're building up a gauge that will... You can choose two different modes. It's basically like your super mode. And one is more about control, and another one is more about damage and speed. And so you want to think about the Gundam that you're choosing and then which super mode you want there. And for those that have played a lot more of it, I'm probably frustrating them, but I'm just dipping my toes into it, and it's a lot to take in. I was not expecting the level of depth
Ben,
that
I
it
did
had.
not expect you to say a high skills cap or ceiling for this game. I was like, it's a Gundam game. It's probably gonna be real simple.
No, you
Jeez.
have to. I mean, if you're playing the computer on easy, you
yeah.
can just blast away from them at a distance. But if you really want to get good and you want to learn and you want to take people online, it is a learning process.
Cool.
You're really gonna have to buy your head against it. But like playing it for a couple of hours when I started and just awkwardly kind of shooting at people versus the end when I was getting combos together, when swarms of lasers and missiles would be coming at me, and the game gives you the tools to kind of like thread the needle, go through all of those, hit them with a melee attack, chain that together. Like, being able to do that felt so good and so satisfying. It is awesome.
And that was single player? There's cool stuff to do single player
There's cool
too?
stuff to do single player, yeah. So there's different ways that you can do single player. There's free battle, but then there's also like stages as well, where you pick whatever Gundam you want, and then you go through a series of stages, and they'll have like branching parts where it's like, okay, do you want to fight these guys or those guys? And even the jump, so I did the easy ones first. Even the jump from easy to normal, the scale of what you're fighting and what they can do and how much pressure they're applying to you, it's a pretty significant jump. And so I'm excited to go through all of the normal and then all of the hard and just slowly learn the systems of the game.
Cool.
So
Way cool.
Good stuff.
yeah, it was awesome. And I was worried about playing it in Japanese, that it was going to be hard to understand and figure things out. No. If this is a game that you want to play, it is... The language barrier is low here, I would say.
It's coming here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming here. It's coming here in September.
Very cool.
So, yeah, it was awesome.
Good stuff.
Kyle, Brad, as Gundam fans, do you have any other questions? What is your interest in Gundam Versus, I guess?
So, I played Gundam Warriors. I don't remember if that's the actual title, but you know the...
Dynasty Warriors Gundam?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, it didn't feel Gundam-like because I was just slashing people down, mowing them down, didn't have the weight of what I admire in Gundam series. Giant robots clashing against each other.
Yes.
And so that's my question is, do you feel like they're giant robots, or do you feel like they're video game characters pretending to be giant robots?
No, I feel like they're giant robots. The weight is completely there. And
Okay.
I think the way that the boost system is designed, like in Dynasty Warriors Gundam, it's so easier for you to go from point A to point B, just constantly attacking, just never stopping. That's not the way that it works in Gundam Versus. I was saying that you could do these pretty cool, like very agile things, but the way that it works is with, like, when you're boosting, it's like you're boosting and then you're stopping and you feel the Gundam kind of hunker down and then you take the shot. There is absolutely a weight present.
Cool.
Like when you go and you take a shot, the reason why you miss so much is because of the weight of your Gundam. It's like you have hitting somebody with a range attack that's good takes a lot of effort. Like
Awesome.
I feel like it would if you were piloting an actual Gundam.
Yeah.
And it's a hard thing to kind of describe. I don't know if I'm doing it justice, but yes, that sense of weight is totally present.
How are the battle arenas? Like, are they all just a big open area, or there's levels where you're like in a city where you could take cover behind a building or something like that?
Yeah, that's definitely there. And the arenas do play a factor. There's this desert area where the different rock formations, it will change like what attacks you can do that would be successful. You can use that for cover. When you're in a city, the buildings will definitely absorb some enemy fire if you're clever with it. Yeah, it plays a factor.
Very cool.
There's nothing in anything that I've seen where you have super crazy environmental effects or anything like that. But where you're fighting definitely does bear some consideration.
Great.
Yeah, like if there's a mountain ridge that you want to get to, right, that's going to take a significant amount of boosts. So if there's somebody waiting for you up there, you're going to want to factor that in. Like, do I go in for the attack? Do I go to the end of this mountain before I come in and get my boost back? All that kind of stuff. So yeah, it plays a factor. Cool. Any other Gundam Versus questions? Are you guys going to play this?
In September.
In September?
Yeah, I can wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not as hardcore as
I
you are.
could
don't think I can
see
do that now.
future tournament game.
What's the... Oh, my
Oh, yeah.
gosh.
Let's do it.
What's the hype level for Gundam Versus?
7.
Okay.
5. It was like at a 2 before, Ben, because I
Whoa.
thought it was going to be bad.
Okay.
But now you're saying it's like high skill ceiling. It sounds more in depth than I thought.
Okay.
Like, I need to believe it. I need to play it to believe it, kind of thing like that.
Sure.
Like, I mean, Gundam games usually aren't super in depth or amazing, I would say.
But like it's a higher hype level than Assassin's Creed.
For me?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
I don't know. Probably not.
Gundams. Brad,
Like,
come
I love
on.
Gundams, but
What giant robots are there in Assassin's Creed?
I don't know. But, like, how many great Gundam games can you point out to me?
Not too many.
Point out 2.
Though apparently Versus has always been pretty good.
Okay, well, I've never really heard of these games.
Yeah.
Like, point out 2 other great Gundam games to me.
That sick Super Nintendo Gundam Wing fighting game.
That's like I don't think that's actually like a great game though. Like
probably
it's
is
cool.
not. It
Like
probably
it's
is
cool
not.
that they're
I
fighting.
really like Gundam Battle Assault. I don't think I could argue that it is an amazing game.
Yeah.
But it's an exciting game.
Yeah.
It's a different thing
Exciting,
sometimes.
yes.
What's the name? I played the hell of it. I have it. You watched me buy it again because I loved it so much.
The Dreamcast one.
Gundam game.
Yeah, I loved it when I was a
cool.
kid,
Yeah.
but it probably doesn't hold up that well.
Sure.
It's probably like not great.
What is the name of that game?
I forgot.
Xeon in the title? Is like Operation Xeon something?
I don't know. A million people screaming at us right now.
Oh yeah.
There's a PS2 game
Oh yeah.
that came out at launch too that was like Federation of Xeon or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that was not good.
Sure.
Oh, there was a PS3 one.
No, it was not good.
There was a PS3 like launch game too. It was
maybe it was
bad.
maybe it was PS3.
It was bad.
Maybe it was PS3.
Yeah, it's bad.
The point is, it's underserved.
It is.
There should be god tier excellent.
Yeah,
Gundam
it's a
games
crime, really.
because
It's a crime.
Giant robots are inherently fun. When PSVR was announced, I said, "Where's the Gundam? When do I get my Gundam?"
Come on, Japan.
I just want to hit the buttons in the cockpit. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do.
2 analog. Well, you know what? You hold the move controllers like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Kyle, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Gundam Versus is a good time. I'm excited to play more of it. I'm excited to learn more. I have an abundance to learn right now, but it's fun. It's fun figuring it out. It's a game that I feel like I can slowly pick away at until the English version comes out.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then when the English version comes
Do
out,
it all
no one's
again.
gonna have any idea what they're doing.
You're gonna school us.
Right.
Yeah.
Get on the
Right.
leaderboard, man.
Exactly, and that's gonna feel great. But it's time for Hotake.
Oh my god.
Trying to make it abrupt. I don't think that one was.
I haven't been on Frame Chop in a
I think
while,
the problem
so
was
that kind of startled me.
there was no chop.
There was no chop.
This is new era, dude.
New arrow. All right. Okay.
I was so worried about getting the time code, and I wanted to do it abruptly that I didn't even do the chop.
That's funny.
And I think I've dishonored the Hotake now, and I think if you dishonor the Hotake like that, you don't get a chop. I can't do a chop now.
Oh, you cannot.
Damn.
You cannot. That's a
That's
Regis rule,
disrespectful.
even. Yeah.
Why? Always the Regis rules, man.
So I have one little tiny Hotake
Sure.
that I don't think is going to take us very much time, and then I have the real Hotake.
Okay.
Which one do you want first?
Let's give the appetizer.
Okay. We don't really do lighthearted Hotakes, and I didn't think this was good enough to kind of be the first full foray into that, but sometimes I don't think it always has to be something that is trying to be serious. Sometimes I think it can just be fun. What makes a good summer game?
Good summer
What
game.
makes a good summer game?
So the first one that came to my mind right when you asked that question is Digimon World.
Why
on
is Digimon
PlayStation
World
1.
a good summer game?
That is a grinder.
Yes.
That is a grindy, mean grinding game. Mm-hmm. And just great for the summer. You have days. You go to bed and you wake up and it's like, oh, the only thing I have to do today is play more Digimon World.
Yep.
That feels so good. And that's the reason why it's great. It's something you can come back to. There's just this world you're going to spend time in. You feel like you're progressing. You feel like you're giving it more time than you could have during the school year.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like summer game, I immediately think of a game where I have a ton of time to play. Like I remember I played Dragon Quest VIII in the summer.
Nice.
And like that's all I did all summer.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the best. But now that I'm older, it's like way different. Like, what is a good summertime game to me now?
Right. I do always think of it from the perspective of a kid, but I agree with both of you, where you have that game where it could take 3 months to finish the Dragon Quest VIII, the Digimon World. But I also think just devoting yourself to one multiplayer game is a really good summer game.
What are you thinking of?
It could be anything. I think you could pick League of Legends. I think you could pick Overwatch.
You got Lawbreakers coming up. Give that a shot.
Right, but I think a good summer multiplayer game is what I think is essential to a summer game is the want, the desire, where it's like, I've had to put this off, either being good at this or finishing this or accomplishing this task, and now I can do it. So I don't think I think rarely is it a game that you just try out and happen to get sucked into. I think it is a game like, oh man, I've been wanting to get here in Overwatch, and now I'm gonna finally go for it.
Maybe it's Final Fantasy XIV for you.
Right, that's the other one I was gonna say is MMOs. MMOs are great summer games.
Yeah.
I have some incidental summer games from my college years where it's just I couldn't play this game during the school year, and then so it's like, oh, hey, I can totally do this right now. Kingdom Hearts 2 is that for me.
Oh.
It's like, oh, I can play this right now, and just had a great time.
Right.
I was home for the summer, and so it's like, oh, let me plug in my old GameCube. I'm plugging in my old TV. And I played through Pikmin. Pikmin's a really fun
Nice.
summer game for me. I have really positive memories about that.
Oh, dude, sorry. I got Mario Sunshine.
Oh, it's a
It's
great
like a prime
summer
summertime game,
oh, it's such a
dude.
good
Yeah.
summer game.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That game came out in the summer.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be
Miyamoto
something
knew.
new. It could just be.
Yeah.
It could just be. I just want to feel good.
Yeah, like feel good vacation at the beach.
I also think summer is a good time to atone for at least one sin.
Yep.
A game that you've always felt guilty about missing.
Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 15.
I'm gonna play because I never played it. Is Chrono Trigger the DS version? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna play that.
Yeah.
Does that
I'm ready
have
to
the
go.
anime cutscenes?
Yeah, I think so.
Sick. So it's
think
like
it does.
the definitive version.
I think it's the definitive version. I'm not sure, but I think it is.
Because I was watching the
Does
speed
it?
run. I was watching the speed run and watching Frog do a momentous thing.
Yeah. The best.
And it was
Maybe
like,
the best moment of that game.
and there's just, if you play the PlayStation 1 version, there's just a sick anime cutscene. That
It is. It's emotional.
Yeah. Yeah. And so if that DS version's missing it, Brad, not definitive.
If
I don't
it's
care
missing
what you
it,
say about the loading.
I'll look it up on YouTube after.
Okay. Fair
This
enough.
is not the time or place.
Yep.
From this, and because I've been getting into conversations with various people about Chrono Trigger, and there's some people out there that think it's just nostalgia, and I understand it. I get it. I think the way that Chrono Trigger is talked about is just treated with that very special kind of reverence where it like almost can't be questioned, and I do
Yes.
think from an outside perspective, it's easy to go, oh, well, it's just your memories then. You're not providing actual reasons. You're just saying, oh, no, of course it's just good. I feel like I have a list of super real, super justified, like, no, I'm going to point to these things in this video game to say why it is perhaps the best Japanese role-playing game. I want
Sure.
to do that. Hall of Greats, man. You
Hall
gotta-
of Greats.
Ah.
Yeah, it's that when that one
Ooh,
comes up, I'm gonna be
that
like,
one would walk in, man.
It's like,
would
I want there to
walk
be
in, yeah.
resistance.
like someone
Yeah,
comes
I
with
want there
Chrono
to be
Trigger, and I'm like, well,
Yeah.
that's it.
Walk it in.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, I love
like
that
we
pick.
shouldn't be able to like bring it in. Don't bring it. You're not allowed to bring
Bring
it
it in. Yeah, bring it in.
Or just, you know what? Just put it on the list already. You know, just put it on there already. It's
No,
already one of the
'cause
greats.
I do. I think it's better than Castlevania Symphony of the Night. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah, I could totally see that.
Yeah, I think it's worth talking about.
Kyle, I would have voted for Chrono Trigger over Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Yeah, me too. In a second. I think you could make a case, Ben. I guess I could play devil's advocate for that. It won't walk in, but I could provide resistance if necessary.
Like, who's gonna challenge it?
It'll be up to me.
You.
Yeah.
We were talking about soundtracks.
Yeah.
And I was talking about how good the soundtrack in Chrono Trigger was, and I remember Brandon not being convinced, so maybe there would be some resistance from
Ooh,
Brandon.
nice.
Like that's
I don't
it.
wanna
Though.
speak
That's
for
all
him.
we got.
Yeah.
But
That's it. Like Blood's like championing that sucker to the moon.
I don't want to play too inside baseball, but what it would take is Jones bringing Final Fantasy VI. So Jones with 6 would be trying to take down
Okay.
Chrono Trigger so that 6 could
that's
get
gonna
in.
get messy.
Yeah. That's what it would take.
That's gonna get messy.
I think Final Fantasy VI is an amazing game. Absolutely amazing. You could make a very easy argument for it being the best Final Fantasy game. I think Chrono Trigger is better. I think you can prove that Chrono Trigger is better.
Then I'll bring in Secret of Mana, and everyone will just boo
I mean,
me out of the
prove,
room.
it's also but-
Boo you out of the room. Boo me out of the room. You're like, come on, guys.
Walk it in.
Man, video
Walk
games are
it
the
in.
best.
We don't have a single Zelda game in there yet.
Not yet.
Yep.
We don't?
No.
That's unlike us.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the old Link to the Past thing coming in. Everyone's gonna be yelling at Kyle.
No, I
Yeah.
think the first one to go in will be
The
Ocarina.
original?
No.
Oh, Ocarina.
Yeah.
Or the original. I can see the original.
Tried so hard to get Link's Awakening in. I thought that would be the first one in. I
You're
was so
close.
happy. I was not close. I got one vote.
Oh
Brad.
yeah, it was tough stakes, man.
Again, that's a private conversation. I guess.
Before
Bonus.
we move on to the real
Bonus
Hotake,
scene.
I want to ask you guys, if you were a kid in the summer, no school, no responsibilities, nothing to do, what would be your summer game? Can't be a game. No, I'm not going to put that stipulation on. What would be your summer game?
Like when we haven't played, or just
Can be anything.
or if we're a kid.
If you had
If we're a
nothing
Today.
today,
Yeah.
if you were a kid, you had nothing to do till the end of August, let's say.
I would play through the Yakuza games, Ben.
All of them.
I would try to get through as many as I could.
Okay.
They've been haunting me for way too long.
Good answer, Brad.
I got a weird answer. RPG Maker Fess.
Ooh.
It's this really cool.
This is a great answer.
It's a 3DS one where anyone with a 3DS can download your RPG for free.
Yeah.
How very un-Nintendo like.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool. If you want to make a game, you do pay for the game. You pay for
Sure.
RPG Maker. But if you just want to play other people's games, you can download them for free.
How did that slip under the cracks with them? That's crazy.
That is crazy. It's
That's crazy.
And I thought about it. I mean, oh man, I would love to make a little 3DS RPG, but it would take so long, and the idea of it being trapped on the 3DS is what's discouraging me from actually like putting time in. Mm-hmm. But if I got infinite time, yeah, I'll make a little RPG for 3DS. Absolutely.
That's a cool answer.
Do all the art, and you just like with a little touchpad, just make all your custom little pixel animations. It'd be so fun.
Yeah. What would you pick, Ben?
The Suikoden games.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Also a great answer.
Well, I think making your RPG.
I mean, that's
such a good answer.
That's a great answer too. I think we all had good answers.
I think we all had good answers.
All
Great
good
job,
answers.
panel.
Yeah, we did it.
All right, so let's ask the real Hotake.
Okay.
And this came about because of me playing Zodiac Age. And it's funny that we're talking about, atoning for games that we should have played but didn't, or feel guilt over, or whatever. And I'm sitting here and I'm playing Zodiac Age. I'm having a grand old time. And there are other RPGs that I've either started or are brand new, like Tokyo Xanadu, that look really cool and people have been talking up that I want to play. And here I am sitting and playing this game that I've already given attention to. I'm doing it for work, but hypothetically, let's think about these remasters where we get so excited about them. We get so excited about games that we've already played and loved to death. And not that that's not valuable, but do you think remasters hurt our chances for playing something new? Or do you think if we weren't going to give it attention, it was not going to get attention no matter what?
I kind of feel like sometimes remasters are a good way to gauge interest in a series, like a developer might have. Mm-hmm. Like they could release a remaster of a version if they're thinking about it. Then if that does really well, like Valkyria Chronicles on PC when it got, I guess it's not really a remaster. It kind of is. It's a better version of it. But I think that like reinstated to Sega, let them know that people are interested in this series they might have thought people weren't. Mm-hmm. So maybe they'll continue on with a newer one.
It's a cool question, Ben, because I think of Pokemon Gold and Silver were announced for 3DS.
Mm-hmm. They were?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. They're coming out, I think, in September. And obviously the answer is yes, we should all go play that. It's super fun, great games. But it's directly related to your question, is that there's other games I should be playing in September. Mm-hmm. There's other ways that I should be spending that time. And you're right, to replay that game again would be taking up other time from other games, and I can see that's. I think that's really why I'm apprehensive about it.
I mean, it depends because there's multiple teams working on Pokemon games, and probably like there's
one
I
just
team.
mean personally for me.
Oh, okay. Well, I think you meant from like developing, like companies bringing stuff out there.
Oh no, I mean for my own
because like
time,
Pokemon companies they're working on a new Pokemon or whatever. We know that.
Yeah.
But it's like to me, it's like sometimes a nice way to fill dead space too.
Oh, for sure. Like that's what kept Kingdom Hearts alive, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think when you love something, when you're so attached to it, it's hard not feeling... remasters carry a sense of responsibility that I think is weird. When somebody says, hey, this thing you love, we made a better version of it, that's a hard thing to ignore.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're questioning your own love if you don't experience it. And I want to know if that sense of responsibility is valid or manipulative or...
I don't feel like I have a sense of responsibility usually. It's just like, oh, I feel like playing that again, or I don't. Like, I have no problem with there's a remaster. I think it's really cool, but I just don't feel like playing right now. I have no problem doing that. Like Final Fantasy X, the remaster came out. Awesome. I have it, but I just don't feel like I need to play it right now.
Sure, but the re-releases of Kingdom Hearts, you've been super on top of that. Do you ever wish that you would take that time and spend it on totally new games? Or series that you haven't given time to yet?
No, I'm okay with doing some things over again. I'm fine with it. It just feels like whatever mood I'm in. I've made a habit where I don't feel bad about what I play.
Sure.
Kind of thing like that. Like the old play what you want to play thing we always say.
So let's take that and go beyond your own personal interest. Do you think it hurts new games just overall from a business perspective, not necessarily from your own personal perspective?
I don't know. Like, I can't think of like a killer app remaster that came out and hurt like a new game coming out that I can think of right now that we actually know was affected by a remaster coming out.
It's weird for me because I feel like a few years ago, maybe even 2 or 3 years ago, I was playing more independent games, for example.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
And I mean, I guess that is kind of changing the nature of the conversation, but I think because of the rise of remasters, and not only that, there have been a lot of bigger games this year, that it's been harder for me. Like, I played a tiny bit of Dead Cells, went, this is awesome, and got distracted by a bunch of other things.
To me, it's like rewatching a movie or something like that. I'm gonna rewatch this movie on Blu right now, even though there's a ton of other movies out there that I could be watching. I want to watch this one right now, and I'm okay with that. I can get to that stuff any other time.
Yeah, so I think Ben, I think other developers can't be bitter. I think that when a game is remastered, it's because it's beloved, and those games, it's the way for games to survive a long time. It's for them to stay relevant and to stay current and be accessible for many more years. And so I don't think they can be mad that people would choose to buy those over their own games. You just got to be hopeful that someday you have a game that is worthy of being remastered in a way, which sounds silly to say, I realize, but you're totally right. I mean, there are times where I'll hop onto the Switch eShop and buy a game because I just want something to play on the Switch. And there is that. There is a competition. It's not really just that I'm always buying the game that I want. It's sometimes I'm ready to buy a game. Which one is it going to be? And you're right. So sometimes that absolutely does happen. And it is. I do believe that some games are competing against remasters. Knack is competing against the Crash remaster. It will be compared to that, I think.
Oh, you mean like I meant from like a sales point.
Even from a sales point, man.
Why?
Think of this fall. Think of a parent buying a game. They bought a PS4 for their child, and they're like, okay, what's like the good kids game? And so it's Knack 2 versus Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, but they're spaced so far apart.
No, I'm talking fall. I'm talking like it's time. You're buying this as a holiday gift.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like Crash is a more recognizable name.
You're buying Crash, man. I honestly think Crash is going to beat Knack for the year.
Yeah. But I don't know, people might think it's a better game, and what's wrong with that if they do?
Sure. Yeah. But I mean, the question is, do remasters compete? And like they do. They totally do.
I know.
I think they do.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like there's so many games out there we could be playing no matter what, you're going to miss something, and I don't think you should feel bad about it if you're playing something that you just want to play.
Sure.
Like, you're going to play some game, and some guy is going to be like, well, why didn't you play this game? Well, it's because I wanted to play this game. And no matter what you play, there's going to be some other game out there, because there's so many now. There's no way we're going to play everything. You just got to play what you want to play now.
I think it's particularly interesting, though, when you do remasters of big, long RPGs.
Sure.
Where in order to get through this, like by design, you're not like. I think there are people out there where the size of JRPGs are intimidating on their own. And there are people out there that the only JRPG they play is Final Fantasy. It's something that they grew up with. It's something that they love. And JRPGs are a big commitment. They don't have a lot of time, right? Maybe there's a new JRPG out there that they would love, another series that they could get equally attached to. But when you could just play through a great version of 12 that's coming out, would you not do that instead? And again, this is all hypothetical, but I think it's an interesting thing to think about. On the other side of that, does it affect our value of a game? Have you ever said to yourself, I really want to play this, but I know there's going to be a better version not too long from now, so I'm going to wait for that? Does that have any impact?
I mean, with me in 15, like the DLC's coming out.
Right.
Where I'm like, I'm just going to wait till it's all out. Maybe there'll be a PC version.
And I mean, this is a whole other thing to bring in this, the patches.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like 15, I'm playing a better 15 than YouTube played.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is weird. It's got steady mode now, where it's like got a
steady mode.
The frame pacing issues are gone. It's crazy. But to say that like this will have a remastered version, that's not a concern. That is, I'd always prefer to play a game as close to release as possible. Despite the fact that it worked out well for me for 15. But I was thinking, Ben, when you're talking about fast forwarding through 12, I was thinking about 15 remastered, where you'll be able to fast forward through the car sections.
Skip like just immediately.
Yeah.
Way easier. Yeah.
I mean, and
like you can.
People are confused probably because you can, but you can't always do that. There are some mandatory long trips, many of them actually, and long loading screens if you do skip. And so I think that there will absolutely someday be a version where people are having a podcast and talking about how accessible 15 is now. Right. You can't think like that. You can't think that far ahead. It's too far in the future.
Usually, yeah.
Even if, like, So I wonder if even today someone's like, hey, I'm thinking about getting Shadow of the Colossus remastered, but should I just wait for that remake that's coming out sometime? I'd almost say, no, man, just play that remastered version. I think even that is too far ahead. You know, I'm not even sure about that.
Sure.
This is not, I guess, the most consumer-friendly answer, but one thing that I like about remasters, and I think is totally true of Final Fantasy XII, is this just feels like the game that it was always meant to be.
Yeah.
This feels like a game that was living up to its full potential. And even though, you know, I played the first version and now I'm paying, a significant amount of money for another version, in a way, I kind of like seeing that evolution. I like seeing these certain remasters come out that do take such advantage and be like, how can we make this better? How can we transform this game?
Yeah.
I like that space exists and is being used more and more.
They're improving
Obviously,
upon the base game.
Right. Obviously, that's not universally true. But if I love a game enough, if I love a game enough and I'm willing to dish out the extra money to see how it is improved, I think that's okay. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's wrong to get second chances.
I think, remasters, I think, are a good way to get people into the series they might have not before. Like,
Right.
if they ever do a Shenmue collection, I think that would get people way more into Shenmue 3 because we'll have some sort of history with it. And Shenmue's a really important game story-wise.
Right.
Like, I think you're going to be missing out a lot on that, and people might skip it otherwise.
Well, yeah, it's funny that you bring that up because Yakuza Kiwami is exactly like that.
Correct.
Because for a lot of people that have personally reached out, Yakuza 0 is their first Yakuza game. And they don't have access to a PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
They want to continue the story, and now because of Kiwami, it just fills this perfect void.
It's a second chance for them.
Right, where maybe some of those people would have dropped off. Maybe because there's going to be that connection there between two PS4 titles, it's going to get a bunch of new people in. You're right, it just creates new opportunities in a good way. And it's this weird thing, and I see it with Huber, and I think I see it with you, Kyle, and I see it with myself, certainly, where now, when I want to play an old game, I say to myself, I wish this was on PS4 or PC or Xbox One. There's just something dramatically appealing about getting everything on one platform.
I mean, it's way easier.
Or as few
ease
as
of accessibility.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there are times where I will get a remaster just simply for the sake of convenience.
Sure, yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Is that a
Hell
good
yeah, it
thing?
is.
Are we comfortable with that?
You're allowed to do whatever you want with your money, Ben.
Support the big ones. Support the ones that you love. You know, they deserve it. They are special games.
When are remasters most offensive?
Like a year, I would say. Maybe. I don't know. An offensive remaster?
I'm thinking of what's the game where you just kick people into spikes?
Oh,
kick people into
Bulletstorm.
Bulletstorm.
That's
I'm
an
thinking
offensive remaster to you?
I like that's as close as you can get as where it's like, oh, this isn't actually significantly better. But even like then, it's cool. They're just putting out a product and seeing who buys it. You know what I mean? It's not like anyone was cheated. Maybe you're cheated a little if you thought Duke Nukem was really going to be an integration or a stronger integration. But honestly, yeah, like
I think there are worse.
Okay, what do you think?
So, for example, what immediately springs to mind is the mobile versions of classic Final Fantasy games. Like,
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
where to me, the worst type of remaster says what people loved about the original wasn't good enough. We need to change it for no good reason. Where it feels like it's meddling in a way that it does not need to meddle, or it's meddling because it doesn't understand what people love. Where there's that disconnect. To me, those are the remasters that are just muddying the waters and making everybody angry.
Like the artwork in 6 or whatever, where they changed the art direction, where there weren't sprites anymore.
I think on most of the mobile ones they changed a lot of
Yeah.
sprites.
So
And I remember people hated those.
yeah. I think in 1 and 2 they're just using the PSP sprites, which look really good. And then I think in 4, 5, and 6,
It's the newer
I think
stuff.
it just looks it's that new gross.
Ooh, Silent Hill 2 HD, where
Sure.
like they actually
I
made
was
it
gonna
look
ask,
worse.
like,
yeah.
is there a remaster that looks worse and runs worse?
Yeah.
And it's a good one.
I think a good one is Street Fighter 2 on Switch is a good recent
Wasn't
example.
why can't I think of the games? You know, the Kojima games, Zone of the Enders. Weren't those bad remasters? Was that a
They
bad
were
one?
at first, but they actually patched them.
Okay.
They took a while, and they actually patched them.
they
And they're
fixed
good
it now.
But
Where
yeah.
the PS3 version of I believe it's the PS3 version of the Silent Hill collection, right? That is just perpetually awful.
Yeah, and like
They patched one of the versions.
yeah, they made things that used to like fade out into fog just very distinctly end in fog. That's the funniest thing to me. That's not remastering it. And so yeah, Ben, it's cool you bring up Final Fantasy XII as a way to kick it off because of how much effort they put into it. It took 2 years because they cared about that game.
Yes, I do. Every time I get really excited, I'm like, man, this is such a huge improvement. I always have to catch myself, though, because really a lot of what is making it so good comes from the Japanese-only version.
Oh, that
It's-
was already there in PS.
Right.
Exactly, because you never
Right.
got to play it.
Right,
Sure.
because you never got to play it. Not that it, in a way, not that it takes away from it, because it is still new to us, but it does, it's that thing kind of in the back
Yeah,
of the
those are
mind.
like the best versions of remasters
Right.
usually.
Right.
Oh, it made me so mad when I would see like bosses of Kingdom Hearts, and I
Yeah,
was
we
like, "Hey, how
never
come I
got
didn't
it.
fight that boss?
It's like,
Where is
cool, never got that.
Yeah.
This Keyblade I never get.
that?" Yeah.
Yeah. Or, yeah.
That's right. Everything's fine
Did
now.
they add those in?
Yeah, we got them, dude. We got
So
the
are
final
you streaming the
mixes.
optional bosses?
I might. Dude, they're like the highest level in the game.
Do it.
Dude, I have to grind it.
You have to do it, Brad.
No, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything.
I want to see those optional
I'm
bosses.
already playing through
I
the
want to-
whole
I wanna watch the
series.
stream, that's
I'm
all.
playing through the whole series already, all right?
Okay.
Entertain
Tell
me.
you what, you can do it.
All right.
Are you guys ready for some emails?
Yes.
Yes. I got some of them on the PS3 version, though. Probably I could do.
Nice.
I got high-level characters on that version.
Nice.
But it's like I'm going through them again on PS4.
Yeah, I get you.
Our first email comes in from Andrew. He says, "Hey, allies." Oh, wait, no.
Oh.
Oh. That's like in the email. Oh, no.
I had a weird thing pulled up.
Oh.
Lewd. I'm sorry, Andrew. I pulled the wrong email.
Oh,
I pulled the
jeez.
wrong email. Our first email comes in from Tyler. Tyler says, "Hey, Ben, sent this one into the Easy A podcast since you were on but wasn't picked, seeing as it's obviously... I'm reading the wrong... Holy shit, I have never botched the beginning of emails so far. If you want me to botch everything you're saying and then false pick you, please send your emails in to askeasyallies@gmail.com. This is a train wreck. All right. Tyler says, till last May, I hadn't owned a Sony system since the PS1, but I finally took the plunge and PS4. One game I'd been fairly excited for, mainly due to Ben's enthusiasm, I saw it starting during the GT days, was Persona 5. 2 weeks ago, I finally bought the game and now just completed it at 100 plus hours.
2 weeks ago.
I'm currently in that
Maniac.
phase of feeling like no game will ever be as good and just beginning New Game Plus. I'm absolutely in love with my first game in the franchise. The thing is nearly flawless except for one moment about 20 hours in that irked me, a lack of autosave. After a few times losing to a frustrating boss, Madarame I think, I decided to take a break, close the game, and then I instantly worried. Had I noticed any autosave indication? I hadn't. And 2 hours of progress due to the lack of manual saving was upon me. I was frustrated, but played through again, and as I said, might consider this my favorite game ever. This wasn't a game ruin or anything and doesn't even change my love towards it, but it got me thinking, should all games have some form of autosave? While I agree autosaving every 10 seconds is annoying in any game, at least autosaving at safe rooms doesn't seem harmful. So yes, what's your opinion on autosaves? Good, bad, am I crazy at being frustrated at my own forgetfulness? So we kind of talked about autosaves early on in the show where we said it's not a huge deal for us because we're constantly saving, but should every game have autosave? Is that just an expected feature? Can we blame somebody if they don't realize that a game doesn't have it because it's so prevalent?
It's definitely a choice now not to have one. It's definitely the majority of games are going to autosave you, and so you are taking it back if it doesn't autosave for you. I get that, but you have to allow games to want you to save deliberately. I think you have to allow that.
Why do you have to allow that?
You can't tell every developer, hey, we need autosaves. You know, it's just you're too old fashioned. I think of times where I've lost a lot of progress, and it does absolutely suck. But I'm better on the second run, And it's like life. Sometimes in life you lose a lot of progress, but then when you're going back through it again, you're better. You've learned from that.
Yeah.
And so I think that can be an intentional game design decision, and you have to allow it. You have to let some people do it if they want.
So throwing this at you, passwords, right?
Yeah.
Before saving, everybody used passwords.
Oh yeah, Mega Man.
Right? And then it was just something that was phased out. I realized that this is not a one-to-one argument, but do you think it's okay for some things to just be universally accepted? Like that if you're playing it and you expect it to be there as a basic feature, that's okay? Or you're saying that freedom is important and could be used in a creative way?
Yeah, and not necessarily a creative way, but Persona is it is about making deliberate decisions. Do you know what I mean? And so I can see why there's not an autosave. I like the idea of it presenting an autosave just when you walk into the safe room. That kind of makes sense. Just like, okay, we're saving it now. Why not do that? But I do think it's a deliberate decision, and I don't know. I don't know, Brad. I mean, you played through all Persona 5.
It could be a balancing issue. I've run into games before where I've gotten to a certain location, and let's say I wasn't high enough level or something like that to get past the part. If it was autosave, I'd be stuck there no matter what. I wouldn't be able to go back and maybe grind before a certain scenario.
I had Final Fantasy XV. I had a subquest I was working on glitch out on me, and I had to load a manual save. My 2 autosaves were too recent. When I loaded those, it was still glitched. I would have never been able to accomplish that subquest if it wasn't for my manual saves, which I think is kind of cool.
But isn't that kind of avoided if the choice for auto-saving and manual saving, they give you plenty of slots?
I mean, if auto-saving has it pick your slot then.
So a lot of games, you'll have several manual slots, and then you'll have like a guaranteed autosave.
That's what's kind of cool about 15 is, it's a good compromise.
Yeah, I mean, I
both.
like both.
Yeah.
That's optimal for me, but I could see why they would want a manual save compared to an autosave. Because like, let's say I got stuck on the last day of like in Persona, the last day to like fight a guy or something like that, and my characters are too weak to beat him. I was playing on a harder difficulty or something like that. I wouldn't be able to go back and load an old save to try to correct that error, so I'm prepared for the fight more now.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something that I wish more games certainly had?
Sure.
And even playing Zodiac Age, it was driving me crazy. I hate this. It gets on my nerves. So I save a lot because I want to be prepared. I want to have the option to go back. I don't want to lose progress, blah, blah, blah. Even though there is auto-saving in Zodiac Age. I hate that sound, the PS4 menu sound where it goes, but would you like to save? Yes. Okay, pick your slot. Okay, I'm picking the slot. Watch the bar go up to 100%. Then it comes up with another screen. It's like, you successfully saved, and you hit OK. Again, on its own, not that big of a deal. It's fine. But when you're doing it hundreds of times. I
didn't know games still use that.
Yeah, a bunch of games use
that's
it.
like in the PS4 menu, actually, not within the game.
So weird.
Yeah, a bunch of games
That's
are
really
using
weird.
this, yes.
Maybe because it's an older game, like a remaster.
A lot of Japanese games specifically use it. And I just want quick saves. I just want to be able to hit a button on my controller or a sequence of buttons on my controller, and it goes, yep, we're taking care of the saving
like PC style?
in the background in a dedicated quick save slot, exactly like PC style.
Okay. Yeah.
Some console games have done this. Why doesn't it happen more often?
I don't know.
I don't have a problem with manual saving, but I think the time that you lose from constantly manual saving
You just
can
want to be able
get
to save
aggravating.
whenever you want.
Right. I feel like we're at a point where saving should be a relatively painless thing.
I feel like though with the save rooms sometimes it's like almost getting through a level to the next save point. Like when you're going through Persona, like they're treating it like almost as a separate level when you're going through this section of a palace.
Sure.
When you reach that next save room, it's like beating a level within itself almost.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So that I will totally concede with you. Where getting to that point where you can save in a dungeon in Persona.
Yeah.
There's a struggle to get there. There's a relief when you get to that room. It's built in.
But if you had to go to that PS4 menu and get a loading
Sure,
screen,
yeah.
right,
Like
I see what you're
that.
saying.
Man, I haven't
Right.
run that in forever.
Yeah,
Right.
That's funny.
That's what I'm saying is, I'm not saying get rid of it. I'm just saying, do I have to click all of these
You want
buttons?
it more speedy,
Right.
more accessible, just like,
Yes.
streamline it. Yeah,
Streamline
sure,
it.
I totally get
Make
that.
it better.
On the other side, I love Souls games for not even giving you the option of manual saves.
Right.
Just
I
too
love
bad.
Just like, wait, I didn't want that to happen. It's like, that's what happened.
But-
that happened, man.
It's constantly saving. You never have to think about it. You're not being taken out of that world to go to a menu to say. Oh, yes. In a way, it almost relieves a lot of the stress. Where have you ever had that point in a game where like, okay, I have 3 slots here. How do I want to use them? When do I want to overwrite?
yeah.
When do I want to
Careful.
use that 3rd
Careful.
slot? And it puts a lot of stress on you. And you're right. When you're playing Souls, it's just like, no, I'm just fucked.
Yeah.
I have to be okay. with
Yeah,
being
yeah,
fucked.
that's what it is. Yeah, it's acceptance.
Yeah, it's accepted. It's beautiful. All right. Our next question comes in from Michael. I know gamers love playing mini games, often one after the other. But have the allies ever had a similar situation where they felt the need to wind down after playing a game, or that they just didn't want to play another game so soon after finishing one?
Wait, I'm confused by his question.
Sure. Let me rephrase it. When you finish a game, do you ever have that desire to kind of take a break to let that game breathe, or it was such a big commitment? So he talks about in the email before that playing through Persona 4 and how much of a commitment that was.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way with games ever, where you either get so emotionally invested, or it just took so much time? Whatever the reason is, where you don't immediately want to jump into another game. You want to give yourself a day, a week, whatever it is, some period of time.
Absolutely, I've felt like that before.
Okay, what have been the causes of that?
I mean, it could be just a lot of playing in a short period of time, where I just need to not play a video game.
Sure.
Or whether it's just so impactful on me, I just need to take a minute to soak it all up.
Do you feel like you have that opportunity with this job?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it just depends, like, on what games I choose to play, though.
Brad, I feel like there's not a day that can go by without you playing a video game because of our job.
Why not?
You got to play every day. We got to be playing games.
Why? When someone's playing a certain type of game, why do I need to play that game?
We need to be playing a game every day.
I mean, I'm playing games.
Uh-huh.
But why do I have to play it every day? Why do I have to play a game every day?
The clock
I know,
keeps ticking, man.
But what if I just spend a lot of time one day playing the game
Okay, that balances out. Checks out.
instead of
feel
just
like-
playing 30 minutes a day?
I feel like I can't spend a day not playing a game, but recently a lot of that has just been because the games I've chosen are so big.
I'm surprised
Yeah.
you're near the end of Final Fantasy XII. That was crazy.
No, I'm not. I'm
No,
not.
he's not.
No,
Oh, okay.
no,
Oh,
I'm not.
no.
I'm like 12 hours into Final Fantasy XII.
Got it.
A
No,
ways to go.
no. Yeah, I've got a long way to go. Yes, I'm not at the end.
You're not
of
ready to
Final
take
Fantasy
down Gilgamesh.
XII. No. Not at all.
So cool with the swords.
Not at all.
The times where I enjoy taking breaks from games are vacations.
Yeah, exactly. You're not playing a game every day when you're on vacation.
Yep. I like that.
I use vacation sometimes to play
Well,
games.
Yeah, you're a little
Yeah.
different.
Yes.
That's cool, though. I mean, if you feel like playing, play.
I think like the worst example of what this question's asking is I had Horizon Zero Dawn and then Breath of the Wild. Owned it. I had a brand new Switch, and I had Horizon Zero Dawn, and so I just crunched it. I crunched Zero Dawn so hard.
You just played it to get through it, though.
Yeah,
That's why you played it.
And then that night, like 10 minutes later, I started up Zelda. Like that's too. I needed a bigger gap.
yeah.
That, you know, that's not giving enough attention to either of those two games. And so I do think there is value to. Here's one of my my locked and loaded takedowns. It drives me crazy when a movie ends, credits start, and people just jet out of their seats and go. Like, it's like you didn't even process a second of what that happened. Like just imagine like finishing a book, reading the last page, and just standing up and running out of the room.
Right.
And that's what people do in movies.
It's like refueling a car. It's
Yeah.
like you're only there for as much fuel as you need to put in the tank, and then you're gone.
Yeah.
There's no.
And I get it. Maybe they have to go to the bathroom. I get. Maybe they probably have to go
I
to the
think
bathroom.
it depends
They're also
on,
just movies.
Yeah,
that,
I think it depends on the movie. Like, if
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
seeing Transformers, Kyle, I don't need to sit there for 5 minutes and think about what I
You
just
got
saw.
it. I think even with Transformers.
Why? I can think about it when I'm walking away. I don't
No,
need
you're
to
not.
sit
Haven't
in
you-
my seat.
You're
Haven't
not,
you
though.
ever had anything though where it's just like I have no intention or desire to appreciate this. I just need something to turn off my brain. I just
Yes.
need anything, just a piece of trash to put into this hole and just to fill this block of time. I actively don't want to think about it.
Yeah, do you watch an episode of anime come after every episode of anime, just sit there and think about it for a minute?
You gotta watch the credits.
Yes.
I skipped the credits.
Yeah,
I skipped the credits. Yeah, I do. I think brains need the time to process things, and so I do get it. I think that even after like a Persona 4, take a break.
Yeah, but we
for
could
sure.
do more than one thing at a time a lot. You can walk out of that movie theater, Kyle, and talk to your friend about the movie you saw. You don't need to sit there to think about it.
I gotta sit there. I gotta see those credits.
Well, that's you. Not everyone needs to do that.
It drives me crazy when they don't, Brad.
I could watch Transformers with Mike and
It's like,
walk
come on,
down the
kids.
theater.
Come on, kids.
Yeah.
Like, no. Just think about what just happened. Come on, kids.
Well, I saw a bunch of robots fight. I saw Optimus cut a robot in half.
Okay, kids, time to go.
Yeah, let's go. We got a busy schedule.
Think about where that movie started and where it ended. How fun is that?
All those people that left the theater, if they came back, like let's say there was some bizarre situation where you had to interact with them, they'd be starting off on the wrong foot, and they would have no idea. They'd have no idea why. They're like, yeah, that guy didn't really seem like he wanted to talk to me. No idea. There's another element. This is my own question, but it's something that I've noticed recently where I feel like within Easy Allies, like I've kind of chosen a path where there's a lot of games that I like and there's a lot of games that I want to play. I didn't talk about it on the show, but I played all of Wolfenstein: The New Order after E3, and that was a nice thing to do. But
good summer game.
Yeah, like there are games that I want to cover, and it's not that like you guys aren't interested in this genre, but like there are certain games sometimes where I'm like, I feel like if I don't talk about this, I'm not sure any of the other allies are, and that's not necessarily a slam on you, but I think all of us do that, right? I think there are certain games that you talk about, Brad, or that you talk about, Kyle, with VR, where it's like, I've decided that I want to talk about these games. I want to invest in this thing.
Yeah.
And obviously that takes away from other things.
Like we all don't have the same tastes in games like that. So I think that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. But do you think that can be a negative thing? Like there are a lot of times where it's like, man, I want to play Overwatch the way Brad does, or I want to like even just Prey. Like I want to play through Prey, but I don't have any time to play through Prey.
I think it could be affect something if we're actively like we know we're going to talk about this kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Like if we're going to do a spoiler mode or something like that, but you don't actually finish it all or something like that. Sure. Yeah, that could have like a slight issue in it. But I think for most things, it's fine if only like 2 of us or 3 of us know about it or talk about it. Like, how long do we need to talk about a specific thing?
Yeah, I always think it's an interesting struggle when you're talking about games. And I don't think it's a struggle that, just speaking for myself, I'm not going to speak for Easy Allies as a whole. There's always a struggle between diversity and depth.
Sure.
Right? Where you don't want to be a one-trick pony. You don't always want to be playing the exact same thing. You want to have enough diversity for your audience, right? To keep them interested in, just to talk about more things, to give yourself different perspectives from different genres, from different games. But at the same time, you want to be able to talk about something with at least a little bit of depth. Mm-hmm. You want to have some knowledge, some expertise.
Sure.
And finding that balance, I think, is ever shifting and very, very
It's
difficult.
a case-by-case basis for every game that comes out, too.
Absolutely.
Some games are Transformers.
Some games are Transformers.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take this home. Our last email from Isaac. I'm very excited to play Metroid Samus Returns, even though I already played another Metroid 2 remake. I anticipate that the conversation about which one was a better remake of Metroid 2 will be pretty evenly split, since they both feel like an updated Metroid 2, but are different enough from each other that one can't easily be crowned the best. With this on my mind, here's my question. What game do you think could benefit from having 2 remakes crafted from the minds of 2 unrelated studios/teams, and the resulting 2 interpretations would complement each other? I really like this question.
Good question.
There was a smirk there. I thought maybe you had one locked and loaded.
Oh no, this is a challenge.
Yeah, I'm thinking about this.
The smirk was just presented with a good challenge.
I think kind of a cop-out answer is like pre-NES games.
Like Atari games?
Sure, like Atari games, where you have so much liberty
Freedom,
with what you can
from,
do.
Like, what it was, yeah.
That it'd be interesting.
I would like to see 2 versions of ActRaiser. Let's see how that turns out.
That's a good pick, Brad. Why do you want to see 2 different versions from ActRaiser?
I just feel like they could be so different, because ActRaiser already is like a really weird game, and it's like 2 games in one already. I would love to see how one fan handles that and how Square Enix would handle that.
Right. Interesting.
I got one. I don't like this.
Oh.
Let me just be clear. I don't like this. And it's already been remade. I'm talking about Metal Gear Solid.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that scares me about Metal Gear Solid is I worry that a newer generation finds it impenetrable. And I'm just talking about the PS1 game. Because of what they're used to, because they just played 5 maybe, and they're used to those mechanics. And so I think we could do 2 remasters of that. I think we can make one very true to the original, more true so than Twin Snakes even. And then one that is more modern in its mechanics and it has like a loot in it. You know what I mean? It's just something that teenagers would like. Teenagers would like loot, I think.
Kyle.
What?
No.
Yeah, Ben. Like, I want teens to play Metal Gear Solid. I don't know how to get them to play. And I think if I show them that PS1 game, the teens, like, roll their eyes. And so I want the teens in, Ben.
Kyle.
Huh.
There's a point that every person must make where they realize that they have to adapt to something and the thing doesn't have to adapt to it.
Okay, all right, I got it. I think I got something that teens might like, is making it look like the Yoji Shinkawa art, the concept art.
Okay.
Like just laying on that aesthetic onto the entirety of Metal Gear Solid. And so it just visually stands out. Maybe that's what we need out of this, is something just like visually striking so that when people see it immediately, they're like, wow, that looks interesting.
Yes.
Actually, I would really like that. I would really like that. And so it is like, it's like a little washed out. It looks like that really cool, just painted art style. That'd be so cool to see, actually, a Metal Gear Solid told in that sort of visual style.
Exactly. And I also feel like the Amano art has never been like fully translated into a game.
Man, I would love a game like that. I would love it so much.
I would too. Kyle, I do feel like I was being unfair, though, that I shot down your loot idea. Perhaps
No,
a little bit
it
too
was
readily.
right. You made the right call.
Perhaps
You
a
made the
little
right
bit too
call to
readily.
shoot
But
that
I
down.
just, is there something beyond getting the kids in? Like, do you think there's any way that could actually make it a better game?
No. Like the modern version of it would have experience, it would have levels, it would have meters that raise as you play throughout that game.
But it's like you're getting your hands dirty. You're doing something purposely wrong to get them to see the good.
Yeah. And I see it. I see it all over, that kind of thing where it's just like, this isn't the best way to do this, but it does give you a wider audience. I get it. I want teenagers to play Metal Gear Solid. I don't know. That's why we get 2 versions. I get the other one that's extremely faithful.
Yeah.
When you sort of allocate one of the remakes to be just completely wild, maybe even wrong,
Yeah.
it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Like, what if you take Chrono Trigger and you take away the turn-based combat?
Mm-hmm.
What if you do that?
Yeah. Chrono Trigger, by the way, that would be some sick remakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would they?
Yeah.
Because I feel like you would have to be so on point with how you made that game look. And I would not envy anyone in the world trying to remake that game.
Yeah. Because, even Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 still doesn't look right. You're still not quite there.
But do you know what does?
Yeah.
How did they do that? It looks so good. Okay.
But I mean, that's it. I mean, that's the Chrono Trigger aesthetic. Just,
I wonder how Valve would treat Half-Life 1, since there is the Black Mesa,
Yeah.
and how they would approach that remake and what they would do
it's
differently.
VR, dude. It's VR.
It's VR.
Yeah. I would assume they would be like. I always thought Half-Life 3, if it ever came out, it would be like VR space or something like that because they're so behind it. Mm-hmm. But it's never coming.
It's never happening.
It's never coming.
Never happening.
What do you got, Ben?
What would you do if you said, okay, there are 2 companies remaking this. They both have to do it in different ways. Could you arrive at 2 different ways to do a great Symphony of the Night remake?
Yeah. I mean, one is 2D and one is
3D?
Yeah, third-person perspective. No, it's first person.
No.
Yes. First person.
Is the 2D
Yes.
is the 2D one sprites?
No, it's sprites in the same way that Dragon Ball Fighters is. I just think that there's people don't. A big studio doesn't have that skill set anymore. It seems like. If somebody has it, it is Arc System Works.
First person.
Yeah. And then the other one is first person Castlevania.
Man, that'd be crazy.
It's like Bloodstain, you know what I mean? Like Bloodstain should have been sprites, but they're like, it's just so much easier to do 3D models. It's like, all right.
First person, dude. I'm sorry, I can't get over that.
Brad,
it's so
it's gonna
crazy.
be so good, dude. It's already so good.
But I'm just thinking of Alucard's movement in first person.
Yeah, you backdash for most of this game.
Like, you just can't see where you're going. You can't see.
This. You were talking about Bloodstain and how much easier it is to do 3D models.
Yeah.
And how depressing that is to me a little bit.
Sure.
Like, not that King of Fighters 14 doesn't have some cool things going for it visually, but you compare it directly to King of Fighters 13.
Yeah. Something's lost.
Something is lost.
Yeah.
And I think what will break me, where I will become just a little bit more cynical, is if they make a new Metal Slug and it's
just
shitty
that.
3D models. I'm gonna die.
That would be bad. That'd be bad. That'd be not right.
That would be somehow worse than any of the others. It absolutely would be.
I mean, I adore Metal Slug. Metal Slug is fun to play. You can pick it up and immediately you're having a great time. I'm not trying to take anything away from how it plays, but come on, so much of the appeal of Metal Slug is the way that it looks.
Oh yeah,
those giant sprites.
A
the
lot of those
expression
Neo
the
Geo
characters.
games are.
Oh, absolutely, but
like
like
Magician Lord,
like Metal Slug specifically.
Yeah. Some of like the crab bosses.
Yeah,
just
and
look
look at the tank just rolling.
Oh,
Looks
it's
so good.
It's really, really good stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's weird to take this into sprite work talk, but like Street Fighter 3 still looks better than 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Easily.
Oh yeah. No question.
The animations look better. It's so weird. And I wonder if there are people at Capcom who said, okay, actually, we're doing 6 as sprites. Let's go.
Right.
I wonder if the team is ready to do that. I wonder if, like, what?
I'm hoping everyone just
Do you
looks at
think-
Arc System Works and be like, oh, let's just do what they're doing.
Yeah.
Do you think that could happen, where you sort of have the reversion into old styles?
It's independent. I think indies do it, but I don't see AAA ever going that way.
Ever? You don't think it could happen?
No.
I think it could.
That'd be
I
nice.
think if the response is
They
negative
did
enough,
with Mega Man. They went back in time with Mega Man
You're right,
9
that
and
was
10.
sick. That was sick.
like,
yeah.
I realize that it's not exactly the same thing, but I don't know if Resident Evil 7 would exist in the way that it does were it not for the response of Resident Evil 6.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
Like, negative backlash has to create.
Probably would have just gotten bigger and bigger, more Call of Duty as it went on.
I really want to play Metroid Samus Returns.
Me too.
It looks
I never beat
super
Metroid
good,
2.
but I want to know for sure.
Yeah. I'm sold by the counter attack, and the weird way that you can aim in a 360 degree radius is kind of cool too.
Do you wish it was sprites?
Yep. I kind of hate 2.5D. I kind of hate it because it kind of tosses out the idea. If you're playing a 2D game, you can kind of accept that the character is not going in and out of the environment. But when it's 2.5D, it's like, why don't you just step to the side, man? Why are you doing this? I really there's not a lot of 2.5 that I love, to be honest with you.
Donkey Kong.
Guilty Gear.
Donkey Kong is not 2.5?
Everything's like 3-dimensional in the background.
Yeah.
But it just looks so good.
Yeah, I guess I mean like 2.5D like
where you can see it like really far away or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
I see
like
what you're saying.
this will happen in the new Return of Samus or Samus Returns.
Samus Returns.
Samus Returns.
Because the original one is, yeah.
Okay, got it. You'll walk into a room and the camera will like tilt over.
Oh,
It's like
I
Samus,
gotcha.
just go over there.
I gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
It's the tilting of the camera, I guess, is where I get
Sure.
stalled.
Sure.
Kyle, you break me sometimes. Because now that you say that, it annoys me too.
Yeah.
Those little things in video games where you're like, why can't you just do this? Now this whole thing is tainted. Now every time I encounter this specific situation, I'm going to be thinking about it. I am able to eject that from my brain.
Yeah.
It takes a considerable amount of effort, but I'm able to do it. You, more than anybody else, reminds me that it's there, and I have to go through that removal process once again.
Whenever I see a mouth not move in a game, I just think of Jones.
I think of Jones. Yeah.
Like I was playing
It's
Nier.
ruined for
I was
me
playing
now.
Nier, and their mouths don't move, and they talk. And I was like, oh boy, damn you, Jones.
It's just like a clog of hair at the bottom of the shower drain. It's like, okay, all right.
Yep. And you have to take care of it.
Yeah.
You have to take care of that. Like
Yeah.
now when I see the mouth not moving, I have to be like,
have to
okay,
accept it.
Jones would freak out about this.
Yep.
That's been an episode of Frame Trap, I guess. Thank you so much, Kyle. Thank you so much, Brad, for
guess.
being on. This is one of those episodes I don't have a temperature read on.
That's what happens when you have me and Kyle on one.
Yeah, I'm afraid to actually. I won't even read the comments because I'm afraid of spoilers.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a good position to be in.
Yeah. So like, I don't even know. I don't even know how people will receive this one.
Yeah.
It feels good. There's something dangerous about it. It's
Mystery.
nice.
There's something
Yeah.
Chance
that
card.
could go either way. Mm-hmm. I take full responsibility, though. If you want to send your emails, I'm sorry I bungled that so horribly. If you want to send in your emails, have us discuss them, have us bungle them. Email askeasyallies@gmail.com. If you want more of us, we're Easy Allies.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about video games. We write reviews. We write analysis. We do a bunch of different shows about different things. You can find us over on patreon.com/easyallies. That is actually the best way to support us as well. That is our main source of funding, so we can keep doing things like this, so we can get better, so we can remaster ourselves.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah, look at that.
Sprite work.
Until next time.